Yo. So The Rock, I saw that on TV this past week.
The man, the myth, and the legend. Back in
So
the
like,
seat.
were you like all hyped? Like, were you watching it like as it went live or what?
No, I was here.
Oh well, you were. So it happened when we were on the podcast.
Yeah, man.
Oh shit, I didn't know that. Okay, cool, dude. I was reading this one thing that this guy was like, "Yo, I went to WrestleMania. I spent all this money in hopes that The Rock was gonna come, and he fucking shows up on Monday Night Raw or
He
Friday."
shows up on
Whatever.
some. I saw the same tweet. He's like, he showed up
Fuck yeah,
on some random fucking SmackDown where someone
I
probably
felt
spent
so
like
fucking bad.
$20 for the ticket. Yeah,
So
I
what's
saw
the
that.
dream, dude? Is it gonna be Roman Reigns or what?
That's ideal. I mean, it's not
dream.
ideal for fucking Cody Rhodes fans, but that's the plan.
I like to see him fucking beat the shit out of Rhea Ripley, dude.
Good chance for that.
And what is up? Welcome back. It is Friday night, and you're here with the Average Boys Podcast. It's your boy Crispy, and I am joined here by my co-host Brian D from New Jersey. Brian, what's up, man?
Yeah, what's going on,
Yeah.
Chris? What up?
Hey. So straight up. Were you like when you heard? I mean, yeah, you were on the podcast and stuff, like going with that Rock shit, right? Like, were you really excited to see that he came back? Like, is that a big thing in wrestling history right now?
Well, honestly, whenever he does make returns, he always kind of makes it known. So, like earlier in that day, he was on Sports Center. He was just all over the place.
He was
right?
all over
So,
the place.
so you kind of knew that something was up. And like Rob is in the chat right now. He's talking shit. You know, he doesn't. You know, how dare us talk about mommy like that? I'm sorry, Rob. But yeah, when he makes an appearance, he always makes it known. So it was kind of talked about, and he showed up. Yeah.
Yo, that's pretty cool. So, like, what do you think? Like, okay, so I've been watching you guys. Like, you know me, I'm not like a big wrestling guy. Like, I don't really know about all the business right now, but I do understand how it all kind of rolls out. But I saw you guys posting up in our private chat that there's a bunch of dudes guys getting cut, and like there's a merger of companies, and now the Rock's back. Like, I mean, I guarantee the Rock situation probably has to deal with, like, since the writer strike's going on and the actor strike, like, you know, a lot of work is kind of open, and he's got like some time off. You know, why not go back to his roots? You know, pick up on some slack and still show people that he's got such great pull in the wrestling world. I mean, he went out there and his last big venture was trying to secure the seat in DC, you know, to be up there with like the James Gunn seat, but he didn't get it. But for him to come up and show that he's still like the man, the myth, the legend, you know, in the wrestling world, and get everybody off their seats, like, what does it look like for him to be coming back, like right now in the series of wrestling?
See, if you had said that about John Cena, I would agree with you.
Okay.
Because we don't know about what John Cena's been doing. He's still very active. So with the strike going on, I could see that being him. But The Rock, he really didn't have anything going on at this point. And it came out during this run, whatever he's doing, whatever you want to call it. He said that there was originally a plan for last year's SummerSlam for him to come back. So it was always in the plan for him to come back. It wasn't just like because there's a writer strike. What's going on? What's going on, Mark? It wasn't because there's a writer strike or an actor strike is the reason why he's here. I just think that it was just time, you know.
Okay, good shit. And is it something that, like, as a fan yourself, like watching it and being up on the stories, is this the time? Do you feel this is the time for his return? You know what I mean? Because I know that there's a lot of stories going on that are super big right now. I mean,
I'm in the minority. I think it's great to see him. I'm a big, Rocky Maivia fan. But I think I'm in the minority where I want to see this move forward. I'm kind of over the returns. I'm kind of over like the
nostalgia kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Would this be like the nostalgia baiting of wrestling? Would this be like that thing?
Yeah, this is definitely a nostalgia. I mean, like The Rock goes all the way back to the '90s, so you
Yeah,
know
I used to watch him way back in the day.
that's a big gap of people that know who that person is. So you know, you bring them in, you're bringing in a you know an audience that you may or may not have lost. I am from like let's move forward. Like you have a whole roster of new talent that I'm sure if you put your brain to, you could create some very interesting storylines, and they have the talent. So let's see what that does. But I mean, it's always cool to see The Rock. It's always cool to see Austin, like we saw him last year.
Oh
It's
yeah,
always
yeah,
good to see Edge and all this. But they're old, dude. Like they're
yeah.
old.
Yeah, I
Like
was just gonna
they're
say,
not the same wrestlers that we remember from back
yeah,
in
we
the day.
remember way back in the day, right?
Yeah, they look cool. They can cut a really good promo, but they're not
But
going to be the
they're
same.
not in the same style and speed and
When
power and
you
stuff.
ask me right now, what would I rather see as a WrestleMania main event right now? I would totally say Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes as opposed to Roman Reigns and The Rock because I don't know what the fuck The Rock is going to look like in the ring. I have no
Well, that's
idea.
the thing. Like, I mean, you just mentioned Edge right now, and the cool thing about Edge is that he is going to be in the new Piercy Jackson series. He's going to be a character in that. And I saw him the other day, and man, that guy looks withered, man. Like you could see his age just in his face alone.
Yeah,
And you know, I remember, of course, like the dirty storyline with him and like Lita way back in the day, and the
yeah,
Matt
yeah.
Hardy. Like I remember all that turmoil that they put themselves through, because if I'm not mistaken, like the Matt and Lita thing was like a real
That was a
situation,
shoot.
right?
That was
Yeah,
a shoot.
it was real, right? Like them cheating or her cheating on him with Edge or whatever the fuck, like,
I don't know if there was any cheating involved, but I
or
know
just separation.
he just
Yeah,
left Matt and then ended up
and then hooked up with Edge, and then
Edge.
they were like, "Yo, let's turn this into a real storyline." And I'm like, "Wow, that's fucking dedication." Because you know, mostly when people get in breakups and situations, like they want to be like respectably away from each other and not bring it up, and then to bring it up in front of like the masses in the wrestling world, like, wow, dude, that's ballsy. But I mean,
Behind the curtain, I know everybody, you know, may you know they may have their ideas about wrestling, but
mhm,
it's a really and I think in some kind of twisted way, it kind of appeals to me. Wrestling is a really, really dirty and fucked up
cutthroat.
industry. Like it's really fucked up. Once you start, you know, ever since like the .com eras and you know the dirt sheets and you know you get to learn about what's going on behind the scenes. Some
Mhm.
really shady shit goes on behind the scenes, bro, and it's really like take your favorite soap opera and find out what's really happening behind the scenes, and that's what wrestling is. And
That's why you like to watch all
it's
those documentaries and shit about the
dude,
wrestlers and
I
stuff.
watch
Yeah,
all that
you're
shit,
about
bro.
that,
I
dude.
watch all that shit.
What about that new show that's called The Wrestler?
Fantastic.
Is it really good?
Fantastic. Fantastic.
What's
And
it
I
about?
don't
What's it about
honestly, I don't know if you have to be a wrestling fan to
to watch
enjoy
it?
it. Yeah, it's a Netflix documentary. It's called Wrestlers. It's depicting and following OVW, which used to be
Ohio Valley Wrestling,
WWE's uh
farming, right?
farming system before they switched out and turned into NXT. Um they that's like the only territorial uh operation still running, you know.
Mm.
And Al Snow, I don't know if you guys may or may not
Yeah,
know
I remember
who
that
Al
guy.
Snow is. He bought it, right? He bought it and started, you know, started running that promotion, and it basically just follows the lives of the wrestlers in that system. It's basically like Heels, like Mark said. Heels is a drama on Stars that basically is wrestlers, but like it's the fake version. Wrestlers is like the real version of Heels.
Okay.
I
I was gonna say we're getting some good comments in the comment section. David says,
yeah, yeah.
"Hey David, what's up from the collectors? Good job on your guys' interview yesterday with David
I missed
Chavosco.
it. I missed it. Yeah,
Chavosco,
yeah.
it was pretty good, man. The guy had a lot of good insight, and it's so interesting to see that. Yes, he's a voice actor for one of like the top 5 animes in the world, and he plays a pretty prominent character. But
Mhm.
he kind of does voice acting as a side gig, and he's like a culinary chef. He loves cooking and shit. So, guys, if you're down, he's gonna be at the wrestling. Dude, they're gonna do a huge wrestling show coming up October 8th and 9th, and Kane's gonna be there. Like
Yeah, I
fucking
did see
Kane
that. I
is
saw
gonna be
that. I
there, dude.
saw
Like,
that.
how cool is that, dude? Like fucking Kane. Um, But yeah, he had a great show. Good job, guys, yesterday on the Collectors. Mark had a great show the other day, too. He had it at the South Texas International Film Festival. Got to interview a bunch of people. Lou Diamond Phillips. Got to
Nice.
interview a bunch of the original actor from El Mariachi, which was the precursor to Desperado with Antonio Banderas, like the first movie that Robert Rodriguez ever made. Got to do some really cool interviews, man. You remember Lou Diamond Phillips and like La Bamba and all that shit?
I was gonna say like that's probably his most iconic role
Iconic
as
film.
far as I'm concerned.
Yo, straight up, when I used to game back in the day on Steam and Counter-Strike,
Yeah.
I used to my screen name was Lou Diamond Phillips, and I would tell people this is what I've been doing since acting. And I just like, yeah, dude, it was good. It was a good time. I had a whole team of diamonds, dude. There was like Lou Diamond Phillips and the guy that played Screech, like just a bunch of dudes with a bunch of diamond names. It was cool. We got it from South Park, so but yeah, Mark says, or actually Robert Flood is, of course, Biggie in the comment section says, Vince turned that shit into money.
Oh, yeah.
And then he says, Mark said, I have a theory on how the Bloodline story is going to get good. Man, there's a lot of people that are about this stuff, huh? Wrestling's got
dude, it's wild, bro. It's really wild.
The one that I know is really, really going on right now, and of course, is probably the Rhea Ripley, Don, what is it, Mysterio? Don Mysterio storyline. How do you like that one? Do you like that one pretty good, or is it kind of winded, or what do you feel about it?
I think it serves a purpose. I think the kid Dom, who is the son of Rey Mysterio, Rey Mysterio. I think he's over in the sense that people just hate him, and I think that's what they want. They want people to hate this kid, and people hate this kid.
They like despise him right now.
They despise him. I'm not really a big fan of Rhea Ripley. I think she's really good in the ring. Again, I think they all serve a purpose.
Yeah, they all do well.
But it doesn't do anything for me.
Okay, so it's not that storyline doesn't really catch you too much.
No.
But okay? Let me ask you though, in the sense of like, okay, because I know Rey Mysterio had a really big heart for Eddie Guerrero, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the whole thing with his son and Rhea Ripley's team and all that stuff, they're supposed to be in tribute to the storyline that Eddie Guerrero was trying to do, or kind of like a continuation of what he wanted to do, and they're trying to turn Dom into like the new Eddie Guerrero. Is that what's going on?
I don't see it that way.
You don't see it?
No.
Yeah, because I remember back in the day, like Eddie Guerrero, like his whole shtick was he was trying to get people to hate the fuck out of him.
I don't think. I mean, I don't think so, and I would hope not, because I'm a big Eddie Guerrero fan.
Yeah, he was so charming, dude.
It's not even about charm.
Badass dude.
Fuck charm. Fuck the charm and fuck all that shit. In ring, he is one of the top 10 wrestlers of all time, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh yeah, clean
work. And Dom is not. Let's just put it that way. So let's just put Dom where he is, and I would stay far away from any comparison to Eddie Guerrero. Personally.
Oh yeah, Mark says the story of Dom is that Eddie Guerrero is like his real dad.
That was from like
years ago, right?
Years ago. That was just.
But you can straight tell that's fucking Rey Mysterio's kid. Like, I mean, it's a funny storyline. It's a hell of a storyline. But I mean, they made it work, and then of course the passing of Eddie Guerrero was a horrible situation. So yeah, I hope they make it work, man. They're doing super successful. I know Rhea Ripley is really, really high up there in the popularity of the wrestling world right now in the female division. So yeah, man, fucking huge shout out to her. And to see The Rock come back, of course, it's so cool. So cool. What else, man? Anything else? We have UFC coming up. Anything coming on with the UFC or nothing? I just saw today. Did you see who they're gonna line up for the next UFC?
Who?
Patty versus what's his fucking face? Ferguson.
Patty the Batty.
Patty versus Ferguson. Yeah, Tony Ferguson.
Nice.
That sounds like a fucking fun fight, dude.
Who do you got?
Fuck. Patty.
You better not say anything other than Patty, because you and fucking Triggs spent like in almost 20 minutes talking to me about how fucking Patty is the fucking man. So you better say Patty, bro.
Well, no, I mean, but he's going against Tony Ferguson. Tony Ferguson is a fucking legend. Okay. But the thing is Tony Ferguson's coming off of a lot of losses and a lot of like downfall in his career. I think he's kind of like, reached his peak. I think he's kind of like in the retirement time. Patty, of course, has been out for what has he been out for like a year and a half, 2 years?
I haven't seen him in forever.
Yeah, he hasn't been out in a while, man. So I would kind of consider that this would probably be a good win for Patty, at least to get like, at least to get his shit back in moving, because I just haven't seen him work. But Ferguson, like I said, like he's on his way out, I guess. So that's pretty interesting too. That Mark brought up also. How do you think the with the what is it like the fucking coming together of UFC
Merger.
and wrestling? How do you think it all kind of comes together, and what do you think they do to work with each other?
I do see them at some point doing a crossover. I don't think it's going to be anytime soon because I don't think you can just throw that together. People are going to be confused.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think there's going to be some cross branding. I do think there's going to be some wrestlers promoting UFC and some UFC fighters promoting, WWE. I think that would be the best way to go about that. Now, when you start having WWE superstars go into like an octagon, I don't see that. Yeah, I don't see that.
Yeah.
And I don't see vice versa either. Because they've tried.
You're talking about like cross promoting and then doing sketches together and skits and kind of like the whole like I guess like the roots right now would be like the way it is with like Jake Paul and Logan Paul, and when they have like Ryan Garcia or Aiden Ross or like those kind of guys like hang around doing
advocating
like,
for
I think that's fucking smart advertising. That's really intelligent advertising right now.
Yeah,
hugely intelligent advertising. I didn't even think of that. That's pretty crazy. Like, oh man, that would have been good.
Dude,
like,
I'm telling you, bro. I have like 2 wrestling chats that I'm in, and we talk about this shit all day, every day. I've heard all types of theories. I've heard all types of scenarios. Trust me, I am knee deep in this shit. So it's like
that's pretty fucking cool. I mean, me not so much. Like, the UFC and MMA, of course. Like, I'm a little bit more about it because I have work and I have fighters that are working there. But yeah, man, that's super crazy. Michael Betancourt in the comment section. Our boy, man. You know what? I was really thinking about hitting him up today because I wanted to get his take on all this Star Wars shit from Ahsoka, but I kind of want to keep him for the season finale. I want to kind of bring in Mike, but man, I really wanted to fucking call him up today and be like, yo, dude.
I mean, am I doing too much in asking if Mike has time for that segment? Not even the entire show, but maybe just that one segment, maybe?
Yeah, of course. Like, I would totally fucking, I mean, it'd be up to him.
Because you know what it is? I think you and I are going to have like the same take today.
Yeah. I mean,
when it comes to Ahsoka.
Yeah, like it was super funny in the private chat, guys. This past week, the episode drops. We all get to finally see it. And for some reason, like me and Brian actually clicked on this episode, and Triggs like totally was like, "Nah, fuck you guys." Like now you're just. He even told Brian, "Man, you're like Chris now or whatever." And it's like,
I didn't. You know what it is? Like, I'll take that. You know what it is? Because I'll take it because like when you go off on your rants, like I get it. I do think you are jaded. But I mean, maybe it's just me being biased because it was me saying it. But like, I think I had some legit. All right, we'll get into.
I think.
But I think I might have had some legitimate gripes there. I even had Rob telling me I was wilding. So it was like that's when I knew I should have just been like, you know what, I might be.
But you see, like that's why I was real like, oh, okay. Well, Michael Betancourt says he probably can't make it. He's with the son. Good shit.
Okay, that's a good
shit. And he's watching My Hero Academia. There you go. Good fathering, man. Good fathering. Well, Michael Betancourt's first comment says, "Hey guys, call it now. A video game brand like Street Fighter and Tekken is going to buy it and make a mock tournament, and it would be dumb not to." Well, no fucking kidding. Like a Street Fighter Tekken crossover, going ahead and branding in with like the UFC or the WWE set, that would be pretty fucking legit. I just heard recently that the anime Baki is going to be set up in the Street Fighter world, and they just did a release for like the Ninja Turtles, hopefully being in there. Robert says, also, there's a rumor that Vince McMahon is leaving again. More allegations coming out, taking off with the money. Or out taken off of the money. Is that true? Have you heard about this about Vince McMahon or no?
I don't know. There's
everybody though, man. Rob's like,
no. I mean, I have heard, but it wasn't from any reliable sources.
Mark's like, but are you gonna buy it?
Buy it? Yeah, exactly. You talking it up? You gonna buy it?
Yeah, straight. Yeah, I would. Street Fighter Tekken for sure. Michael Betancourt says, probably not tonight, boys. He's with the son. We're currently watching My Hero Academia for daddy and son night. We'll go for it, brother. We definitely want to make sure that we get some time with you soon, Mike, to make sure that we talk about Ahsoka Tano, because what a what a great time to be alive for Star Wars fans, because they're dropping some really
Mike,
cartoony Star Wars shit.
I know that you're, daddy's son night, but if you
Mhm.
are around during our Ahsoka take, I would
Hit us
love for
up
you
and
to
we'll link
jump
you.
in. No, no, no. I know that I don't want to. He doesn't have to come on, but just a comment. I kind of want to get your take on what you think so far.
Yeah,
But
for sure, for
yeah,
sure. Yeah, though. What else? What else? What else? Other than that, of course, we're going to be talking about some other stuff that we got going on. It's probably not going to be a super crazy show today, guys, because of the fact that it's been a slow week. Um,
yes.
Even right now, we've talked about this. I mean, we've beaten the fuck out of this like a dead horse. Of course, I keep saying that the writer strike is very much similar to the way it was with the Ezra Miller situation. Like every week, it was like a different chapter or a different story or a different hot take. But it looks like the writer actors guild, the writers part, because it's two separate organizations that are striking right now, and it looks like the writers strike is casually kind of coming to terms. They're kind of getting it right now, and yeah, like it's something that's finally going to come to a thing. What's Mark? Just to kind of comment on that, I'm not much on wrestling, but I do understand like the old school stuff for sure. But I'll definitely get into it if you guys want to have like conversations about it. It's just I know that there's a lot of people out there that already do like conversations about wrestling shows, right? Like, I
I
mean,
listen to all of them. I listen to so
yeah,
many podcasts, so many fucking dirt sheets. I listen to everybody.
I
Dave
like
Meltzer. I
me
watch
personally,
everybody
guys.
else.
I like to ask Brian because I know he's really passionate about it, and I like to get his hot take on it because of the fact that I know Brian's my guy if I ever have questions about that. Like I'm gonna go to him because he has the knowledge for that.
Yeah,
That's why I like to ask him because I know every week the wrestling, there's always some shit going down in wrestling.
always.
Always, always. It never stops. So for us being podcasters and having conversations, it's like the UFC. It's something that's going like every week. There's just something that's always popping off in the Hollywood world. Like it's not always like that. It's not always like that. But for sure, if something comes up and it's something that Brian and I and fucking dude Mark, we'll bring you on. Of course, dude, we'll bring you on the show, get you on here, get you guys talking wrestling and all that shit too. So for sure, we'll definitely keep it in mind. But going back, the writer strike right now is apparently coming to an end. They were supposed to be in talks about finishing up like on Tuesday, I want to say, and then Thursday came along and yeah, like it's kind of like is they're still straggling, but it looks like it's coming to an end. Are you pretty familiar with anything that's going on with this right now?
Vaguely. So
Okay.
this is all developing still, like in real time as we're talking
Yeah, yeah,
about it. So like I kind of wanted to wait until it was finalized, which seemed like it should have happened today, but like
yeah, yeah.
it's still going on. But side note, like it's this has been going like the writers strike
Mm-hmm.
specifically. It's been going on for 144 days. Like this has been a long fucking time. So
Mm-hmm.
from what I have gathered so far is that what was it, Tuesday, either Monday or Tuesday, the writers in the studios got back together. Apparently out of that meeting, there was, some optimism. A lot of people were saying that there could be a chance that this at least the writer's side of things could end very soon. They've kept a lot of things close to the vest, obviously, because they're still, working things out. Nothing's been finalized. So there's really not much to report as of right now. I just know that the picket lines that were going on were, buzzing a little bit more, and a lot of people were talking about, this could possibly coming to an end, which, this has been going on far enough, right? So it's
Yep.
like they need to figure this out. Me as a consumer, me as a fan of movies, me as a fan of, writing and things of that nature, like I need this to come to an end too, for my own selfish reasons. So
Mm-hmm.
just give them whatever they want, man. Just give them whatever they want, and to be honest with you, on the grand scale of things, it's not going to cost you much. It's not going to cost you anything, actually. So give them what they want. Now the actors, that's going to be a hurdle. I don't know if that gets resolved anytime soon. I think that this
Mm-hmm.
helps it. I definitely think I definitely think this helps it, that the writers are able to manage a negotiation. So that might light a fire under the actors guild
Or even the studios,
to
right?
figure that out.
Just get everybody back to work and things like that.
It
Oh,
It depends. It
yeah.
depends. It's a little. That's a little bit that because what the studios are planning to do with AI and the actors, it's a little bit wild. So I don't know if that gets resolved so
Okay.
quickly. The
Well,
writing
I
I
mean, with the
think gets
writers coming
resolved.
back, it brings back shows. It brings back all that stuff like late night TV. Brings back some, maybe
To
some like
what
soap
to
opera
what
shit, right?
to what's already in development. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But you still need the actors though.
Yeah.
Like you still need the actors, so it's kind of it's good for the writers, but it still kind of sucks for the actors because like they still got to figure that out as well. So I don't know. What's your take on this so far?
Well, I mean, it's good. It's good to get people back to work because again, we talked about this like last week where we were saying, you know what, like it's not the popular people that are struggling in this situation. It's the people that we don't know about that are in the background that work for these organizations.
Yeah.
And being that the writers, you know, it takes like, you know, in some of the stuff that we heard, they want, you know, to have 12 writers on a set and every one of them getting paid per session and all this other stuff. You know, breaking it down, you go back to just some type of observational awareness of this in the She-Hulk episode. She walks into the writer's room and there's like a table of like 9 people all sitting there. And that would be technically the writers and a director, which is like 8 writers, 1 director, and a producer or whatnot. So you're looking at a room of like 7 or 8 people that are all looking to hopefully make money from what it is they're doing for their career. And that's for like a small 8 episode season in Disney, not like a whole show that's like, you know, 30 episodes, 27 episodes of like NYPD Blue or the Siren or whatever those shows are called. So even the aspect of how many writers they have like on Jimmy Kimmel show or on Steven Crowder or whoever the fuck shows have their night TV stuff. They all have their people that come together to do their comedy skits and all their stuff. So all those people coming back to work is a good thing. My biggest concern was the actors were the one that were pushing people in the concept of like making sure that everybody is getting some monies and being the loudest and stuff like that. And when the Writers Guild first went on strike, they went on strike and they were alone. And none of the actors came out to support the Writers Guild. It wasn't until the actors strike happened that the actors were then pushing for that the writers and the actors both need some type of, you know, their concept of living wages. Like now that the Writers Guild is going to come to a conclusion and they're going to come to terms, this leaves the actors out still picketing and trying to get some type of negotiation talks going on. And I wonder, and just, you know, playing the evil of the second side, I wonder if the actors or some of the actors are going to push on the idea that the Writers Guild still needs to be picketing for the actors also, and that it's not fair that they are not being taken care of or considered or negotiated for. Like, I wonder if that's going to be a thing.
I don't think so, and I don't like it either. Like, don't ask for help. Like, you guys, like, I get it. You guys are trying to be in solidarity with the writers, but this is your fight now. Like, you can't
Mhm.
worry about the writers. You can't worry about anybody else.
Yeah, I think they should be kind of like happy if the
They need to
writers do get some
focus.
kind of negotiation.
Yeah, they need to focus on their shit because did you see this the report that the One Piece actor made like 4 times more than
She Hulk.
She-Hulk? You saw that shit,
Yeah,
right?
I saw
Do
that.
you know? So you remember what the stat that I gave before? Like all these streaming services are bleeding money. No one's making any money besides one, and that's
Mhm.
Netflix, right? Netflix is the only streaming service that is not in the red at the end
Yeah, it's the one that's
of
making
the
the
year,
money right now.
right? So that makes sense. So if this was like net like that's the disparage, like that's the issue, is like there is just no rhyme or reason to who and what is getting paid actor wise on these streaming services. So
Okay.
when we're talking about the actors, they have a really big hurdle because you can't ask for Disney Plus as a streaming service to pay as much as Netflix when Netflix is the one that are making when the ones making all the fucking money. So that's going to be the issue. That's the reason why this is going to be such a bigger hurdle for the actors. Again, it's great that the writers got their shit together or got their deal done because
Mhm.
it creates a good
Vacuum.
narrative that there can be some compromise. But the actors, and I've always said this from day one, that's going to be the issue is the
That's
actors.
gonna be the hard part.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean that's a good thing you brought up. Like, but let me ask you, like, do you feel like the numbers that were agreed on were deserved?
With
Like in
the
the
One
sense of
Piece,
like One Piece to the Hulk or She Hulk?
I think it's just a different method of how they acquire their shows. Like Netflix buys their shows. So whatever price point you're gonna pay the kid is
Mhm.
however much you're gonna pay the kid. Disney Plus, it's like this is it. You want the job or not?
I just think it's super weird. Like first off, I
And I
don't
could
know
be wrong
why.
about that, by the way, but I don't know.
I mean, it's something interesting to talk about because it's something that as a person that understands business and all this other stuff, like we would come to terms in the sense of like, oh, okay, well, it's done by your skill or it's done by your resume or it's done by the company itself. But like Netflix to Disney, like Disney's like a huge conglomerate. They could pay their actors better. You know what I mean? She Hulk, the idea of this character is going to be like a major player in the movie soon. Why is it that? But then again, they're battling against Netflix, which is, of course, another company that's come up
But
from the masses.
how do you
And
justify that? How do you justify that to investors? How do you justify that to investors that uh they are they are basically just dumping money into the streaming service for these actors that it's not making a return.
that's not making a return.
There's no growth there. There's nothing there. How do you and that's the issue. Like
How do you justify it?
Disney has to justify that to
Yeah.
investors or else they're gonna be in trouble.
Yeah. So,
Netflix can do that. Netflix is like, listen, we're gonna dump $1 billion into this shit, and
yeah.
you guys are gonna shut the fuck up and get your dividends after every quarter, and
Mhm.
we're all gonna be fucking happy. Disney can't do that.
Yeah. And it's so weird why though. Like I don't understand. Like this is one part that I find myself kind of like always baffled about. Like one was why would this person, actor or actress, make this post in the sense of complaining when she had to sit there or her union had to sit there and agreed to the price that she got paid for those episodes? Like, why complain about that knowing that she was super hyped about the film? There was no problem of her talking about how much she got paid when she was doing it.
I
And in
don't think
fact, I think she
she's the
was like
one, but I don't think she's the one
that talks for that, right?
that talks about it. I think it's just something that was just brought up, and I think that I don't know why exactly or what the angle was for that to be said.
Mhm.
It is shocking. Don't get
But
me
it's
wrong.
dicey though, man.
It's fucking shocking.
Yeah, that's fucking
Um,
because one, a Japanese anime show like that's super outside of like Hollywood and a lot of like the politics of Hollywood, like for them to reach out and do a live action of One Piece that's been going on since the 80s, like, and then there has to be some type of like, hey, you know what, like this isn't really nostalgia baiting, this is us just sticking to the this is like what we talk about, like sticking to the resource as best as we can or the reference.
it's
You
not
know what I
even
mean?
that
Like
though. Like I think you said it though. It's from the '80s. So if it's from the '80s, it has accumulated a
it's huge. Yeah,
massive.
Netflix is yeah, oh yeah, One Piece is
It's
huge.
accumulated a
Huge. Yeah,
massive
he's huge.
amount of followers. So
Yeah.
like if he I don't listen. I understand why you pay him 4 times more, but I think it like if you're gonna have your leading actress in a Marvel
An Academy
Disney
Award winner.
Plus, I think that the payment gap should be a little bit closer to that. Like I'm sorry.
Yeah, to me, it's one of those things. Like,
But then again, Netflix pays. They do some weird shit with their money, bro. Like
yeah.
they spend a lot of money, so there might not be any rhyme or reason to any of this shit, bro.
And that's because I don't even. Sorry, I don't know how much the other actors got paid that are part of the One Piece. I know the guy who played Zoro is a very seasoned actor in Japan, and not only that, he's Sonny Chiba's son. Like Sonny Chiba is like a legend, bro. You know who Sonny Chiba is
I do.
by chance? Yeah, Sonny
Hmm.
Chiba is like a legend in the martial arts world. In Japan, he's like one of the top actors in the world. So like this guy coming in as a character wanting to play Roanozoa, like there's a lot of there's a lot of pull that these guys got when it comes to like, hey, we're gonna bring this dude in, and it's gonna bring in views and a younger generation of crowd because he's like a pretty actor and he plays all of these live action adaptations, and he's like the first choice that a lot of people go to. Like, I kind of feel like he's like the grab in Japan. So you're gonna play high for a character like that. I guess he would be like the Scarlett Johansson of Japan when it comes to like these kind of roles, right? Like you're gonna play high to get a person like this. Everybody else is kind of like fairly fresh actors, I guess you could say. He's the only one that's pretty seasoned. Yeah, so I would say that. I mean, it was well worth its money. You know what I mean? It was well worth its money. One Piece.
And I think it again, it is going to justify because it's a huge IP. It's on the biggest streaming service. So yeah, the real question is, why are you paying your lead for She-Hulk 4 times less?
So little, right?
So little. That's the question.
Well, I mean, that's something that I think they need to deal with internally, not externally, blaming Netflix or blaming this on like some kind of sexist thing or whatever. That's kind of like the way I saw it. Like when that thing was posted out, I kind of feel like it was one of those things like, well, why is it?
See, I didn't get that. I didn't get that. Normally it is aim in that direction,
that kind of nature, right?
But I think in this climate that we're dealing with the economy that we're dealing with, and with the strike, I think it was more of the strike angle. Like,
true, I can see that.
There's just such a disparaging difference between streaming services to streaming services, and the actors don't like that.
True that. Alrighty. Well, onwards into the next one. So what do we think, man? Fuck them kids. Straight up. What do you think then? Do you think the writers' strike's going to probably come to an end this week? I think it's going to come to an end this week.
I think it's all pointing to it. So
yeah, I think it's
going
to conclude.
I hope so. I don't want to see anybody, without a job. Like this life is hard as is, and to be without a job, you're not making any money. Granted, when they come back to work, they're going to be making way more than me. But I think it's just the human aspect of it. It's not cool.
True that. All right, Brian. Onwards to our next start of the dedication.
Let's go.
I have to ask you.
You gotta ask me. I'm ready. I'm ready to answer.
Out of all your DC films,
yes,
what are your
Aquaman?
Top... Come on, man. Let me finish, man. What are your top?
Wonder Woman 82.
You already know. What are your top 3? Oh, you know what? Let me say. What are your top 4 DC films of all times?
Ooh, okay. Batman the original. With Michael Keaton, it's number one. I would say after that, I liked that. We gotta go. I mean, do the original Superman work?
Yeah, across the board. You're talking about like Christopher Reeves, Superman?
Yeah, I would say Superman 2 is up there. I'm not going to put these in order. But Superman 2.
Yeah.
Superman 1 was a little bit...
had a little silliness to it, but it's all right.
Superman 2 was the one for me. I really liked... It's a really good question. It's gotta be one of the Christopher Nolan Batmans.
Okay.
But I'm just trying to figure out which one.
Alex in the comments like, you're starting off good, Brian. Starting off good.
Gotta put another Batman. Batmans have been the better ones. What's up, Alex? I guess Batman Begins. It's not Batman Begins. Dark Knight. I guess I'll put up there. And then for my 4th, these are, I would really you just really put me on the spot. I would have to like sit there and think about it.
Well, the thing is I opened up to a can of worms when I said across the board. That's the part that sucks. Is now you got a whole plethora of DC movies to like really.
There's a lot of DC movies, and I'm sure I'm forgetting some that I would put on my top 4. But like just off the top of the head, those would be my 3. And then I would probably put what's that Superman? The newer one, the first one though, like the
Man of Steel.
Man of Steel. I put Man of Steel up there.
Good. And the reason why I wanted to ask is I wanted to get your hot take on the Man of Steel, and of course, Batman versus Superman. Like, I want
Okay.
your hot take on it. Like, I want to know, like,
But you got to give me like, are you asking me, do I like them? Because I just told you, Man of
yeah,
Steel
yeah,
is in
no,
my
I
top
know that
four.
Man of
So
Steel's up there. A lot of people kind of claim Man of Steel to be up there for their movies, but like, what I want to know is like, if you're thinking that it's a good movie, and I'm not saying that it's not a good movie, I want because
yeah,
I'm basing it up based on your opinion. Like, I want you to give me like your best pros and your ideal of the cons in that film on Man of Steel. Like,
I
just
think I
straight up,
think
like,
I think that was the first iteration of Superman that fit for me. I don't even think Christopher Reeves fit. But that was definitely a really good fit for Superman. I think the cinematography was great. I think the story was great. I think it was shot well. I think the CGI was really good. That was an all around really good fucking movie. I don't have anything bad to say about that movie. And mind you, you really didn't do shit in that movie. Like that movie wasn't really
yeah, it was real
anything
chill.
special. Yeah, it wasn't anything special. And I
It was
think
like
I
it was
I
like an
think I
isolated
appreciate it.
event.
Yeah, like and I definitely like appreciated that. Like it takes a lot for a movie like that where nothing really happens in the movie to make me like it, and I appreciate it for that.
Okay. And then, of course, like I want to get your same ideas and
Batman
concepts on
VC, Batman versus
Batman
Supes.
versus S.
I
Yeah.
like that movie. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. I like that movie. I know everybody gives a shit for like the Martha shit, and everyone hates the Jesse Eisen or
Jesse
Eisenberg's
Eisenberg, Lex Luthor
his
Jr.
version of the Lex Luthor, but I like that movie. I like the dynamic between Batman and Superman. Fuck everything else that was happening around it. Doomsday was an atrocity, though.
Yeah,
That
that's
was
rough.
an atrocity. That was fucked up. Like I could have done without that. Um, but you get the introduction of Wonder Woman. You get Gal Gadot. You get you get
Batman versus Superman, straight up.
that. Yeah, and it was honestly, it's not as bad as people made it out to be in real time. I think over time it's gotten a better rap, but I think that when it first came out, people were just shitting on that movie, and I didn't
Sure.
hate it at all. I actually liked it. What about yourself? Why are you asking me about these movies now?
Because there was an interview that went off this past week with a writer from the DC universe who wrote for Christopher Nolan and who also wrote for Batman versus Superman.
Okay.
And he came out and he had a pretty interesting hot take on how it kind of all kind of came to fruition, right?
Yeah.
And my thing was, he does in the podcast talk about some interesting concepts that we've discussed on the podcast, which is kind of like the placement and the stretch of the story and how compressed it is. And where we've talked about it before, where we've said, you know what,
What does that mean though? What does that mean about how compressed it is? What does that
like in the
mean?
sense of like how you said it, like the Doomsday thing was too much for that film. Whatever it is that they had going on
There's
for
a lot
Batman
going on
versus
in that.
Superman,
There's a lot going on in that
yeah.
movie. I will give them
So
that. There's
like
a lot going on.
when we saw it, and I think we've talked about this before, we were like that movie by itself easily could be two films.
It
Like
should have probably
easily,
been two
yeah, it should
films.
have probably been two films. And that's kind of like what this guy was saying, that he was saying that Batman versus Superman was a mistake. Like
How
his hot
so?
take was like it was a fucking mistake. And the reason
How
why is
so?
because he believed there should have been a Man of Steel 2 before Batman versus Superman. Like
People have
leading
always
up
been
into
saying
that
that.
story.
People have always been saying that. But that to me, that's not what the issue was. The issue was they tried to cram a lot of shit into this movie that was very it was a very complex movie, or at least they made it out to be a very complex movie. I don't think I spent too much time thinking about it, but it's a very complex movie, and they tried to fit a lot of complex shit in it, and it
In a small
did
amount of
it
time.
in a small amount of time. That to me was their downfall. To me,
Now, what's crazy is, I mean, we've had this discussion before about this and how the studio was handling it. Now, in the interview, what he says is, I'm going to quote this off of the interview. So the interview was from, let me go ahead and click on this real quick. Let me see if I can get it to work.
but what are your thoughts while you're looking it up? What are your thoughts about Batman v Supes?
Well, okay, so Man of Steel, the first film, was a very good origin story for Clark Kent. It was a very, very good story for him as a man, which I mean, it's super crazy to say that because he's not a man. He's like an alien dude that has like all these cool special powers.
And we've heard this
But
story a million times. That's what I'm
yeah,
saying. Like it's
and the nurture of him being so brought up, with love and compassion from John and Martha Kent, like
yeah,
it turned
fucking
him into
Kevin
a human
Costner in
being.
the movie, bro. Like what else do
Yeah,
you
dude, it
want,
was
dude?
so good. Kevin Costner was amazing as the father, or as John Kent. But like there was all of that him of being such a good person growing up and being taught all these life lessons, and then he becomes an adult and kind of like just starts wandering the world, and he's just doing like all these weird odd jobs, and you find him like literally in every shot because he's got a job in every city or whatever. Like I was a little bit confused during that part of the movie because I didn't know why and what purpose he was getting around so much.
Yeah.
And I just kind of like chalked it up to being like, well, this is his detective skills and he's trying to get to the spaceship. Like that's what I kind of was like, all right, that's as easy as I could put it.
Yeah.
Um but like I didn't think it was like the Superman movie. And the reason why is because Christopher Reeves did such an amazing job with the first three films. Like I felt deep down inside like that's my Superman. Like
I feel that way too.
yeah, like
He
and
will
I
he
don't know
will
what it
always
was.
be my Superman. But Henry
There,
Cavill is a very, very close second to me.
yeah, he's really good.
He's been the
He's
best
really really good.
iteration
Yeah,
since Christopher Reeves, as far as I'm
like I
concerned.
I like his passion for understanding the character.
Yeah.
Like I like his passion as an actor to understand the character and want to bring it to life in the way it does. For me, it's one of those things. Like I just feel like Henry Cavill Superman doesn't quite he doesn't have the hope. Like he's always searching for hope. Where
Mhm.
where Christopher Reeves Superman was just always uh shining beacon of light, smiling, keeping everybody encouraged, confident. He was always kind of like I mean, that's where it comes, that charming word. I've been using it a lot, but it really makes sense when you think of like the Ryan Reynolds of the world, the Chris Evans, like the guys who really like the Iron Man, the guys who really go out there and they breathe the character to life.
When I grew up and I realized the origin of, because as a young kid and you're watching Christopher Reeves, like it's cool, right? It's Superman. We all grew up on Superman. But as I got older and realized where Superman came from, like the action comics and all that stuff, like he was the action comics Superman. Like
Yeah.
he was the epitome of that, just
Yep.
in live action.
Yeah, he brought it to life.
He brought it to life,
And that was awesome, man.
and that's awesome, and that's awesome.
And even what's even crazier than that is comic book artists then later in life, in the 90s and all that stuff, they embodied Christopher Reeves as the true to life Superman and based
prototype,
their
yeah.
Superman iterations on it. And what's crazy is like after there was a comic book arc called the New 52, which is the where Crisis happened and they
Mhm.
brought in like a whole new system. New 52 was kind of iffy, right? They brought in a whole new Superman. He didn't have the tidy whities on the outside. He had a really high collar. He looked really cool, like a new age one, which they based the cartoon of War, the Justice League War cartoons are based on that Superman, the New 52.
Mhm.
Well, in the comic books, they ended up rebooting the New 52, and they had the Christopher Reeve Superman, who is the Superman right now in the comics, merge with the New 52 one so they could bring back the original Christopher Reeves, because everyone loved his version of Superman more than anything, because he just imbued like just the Captain America, soldier boy, country boy, real good at what he does, real, God-fearing American, hunky dory kind of shit or whatever. But he was the symbol. Like it's just what it was. Henry Cavill's had a lot of turmoil, had a lot of like trauma or something in him that kind of like made him always like look like he was kind of like missing something in life. Even when he goes out to the snow cap and he sees his father building stuff in the thing, like he has so much, like there's just so much like trauma or something in him that he just was never able to let go of, like his father's death, John Kent's, like all of that. He probably like, had a lot of remorse that he knows he could have saved him, but he knows that he has this like this life that he has to live this way. It was cool. It's a cool take. This writer then says, yeah, I think so. And this is an interesting way that he kind of breaks it down, because this again goes on how the studio ruined a really good opportunity for DC films.
Okay.
I know the pressure that we were getting from Warner Brothers, which is we need an MCU. And I was one of the people that were saying, whoa, 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 let's not run before we can walk. Hold on, let's take our time. They, hyperbole Marvel, were very methodical in how they built it. We can't just jump into all these things. But the other thing that they were really difficult at the time is there was this revolving door of executives with both Warner Brothers and DC.
You
And it
know
felt
what?
like
Before
18 months.
before you continue, I did see this. I said that
Oh,
I
you
didn't.
saw this,
I
right?
did see this. Now
And
that you're going
it's
into
a
it,
pretty heavy take, man.
I remember reading this. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah. And he says, it felt like every 18 months someone new would come in and someone new would come in and someone new would come in over and over and over again. And we were just getting whiplashed. And every new person would come in and was like, yo, we're gonna make it bigger. And I kind of feel that was the whole downfall. Like, because even right now we see it where DC's kind of like still kind of in the same format. They're getting rid of people, they're bringing in people, they're jumping this or jumping that. You know, a lot of people are even kind of having they don't have a lot of faith in the James Gunn DC universe that they keeps clamoring about, but they're saying is going to be like one of the greatest things. Of course, I think time is going to be the thing that's the effort, you know, giving them the opportunity to really kind of like dip his toes in it. But I thought it was something very interesting for someone who wrote for Christopher Nolan for the Batman films, who wrote Man of Steel during that time where it was like the peak of DC's film career, you know, coming out and saying that the studio was rushing things and making things happen. I always believe that the movies just sucked.
I don't mind it. I don't mind the fact that they were kind of like in a rush.
Rushing.
But the reasons why they were rushing it is the issue. They were trying to keep up with Marvel, and you can't do that.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, Marvel had such a heads up already.
and it's not even that though. They have the people in place to execute. You guys might not have the right people in place, but that's coming like secondary or third or fourth. Just getting it out is being priority, and that's not the formula, right? So like you guys need, if you're gonna rush this stuff out to try to keep pace with Marvel, and we've been talking about this at this point for years about how Marvel does something and then Warner Brothers is reacting to it. Like the Avengers comes out, and then next thing you know, they're rushing to make sure that the Justice League comes out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that they're doing it for all the wrong reasons. Like if they actually took a year to get the right people in place before you start writing anything, before you start shooting anything, you just take 1 year to focus on getting the right people in place, as opposed to we have these people, we have A, B, and C in place, and we're gonna use that to try to keep pace with Marvel. I think that's where they fucked up, and it shows. They just did not put out the same quality of movies that Marvel did, and it showed. But
Yeah.
they actually had some good shit out though. Like they actually like had some really good shit. They got some right people. They got James Wan for certain. James Wan, later in the DC EU, created the most profitable DC movie of all time. So like you get the right people. That was when you have the right person in place. I think if they had spent more time getting the right people in place, that
They
could
would have
have
had
been
better
the normal.
opportunities.
That would have been the normal, actually,
Yeah.
as opposed to some lackluster movies that, no one even
Just
fucking
rushing.
remembers. Yeah, no one even remembers anymore.
Yo, speaking about that, Aquaman 2,
Yeah.
it's kind of looking a little bit more interesting, man, to me. You know, I know we talked about it
Um
pretty heavy last week, and I was
yeah.
kind of like, like I didn't really care too much, but you know, doing a little bit of like talking backwards and forwards with some people, I was finding out some stuff that I was like, hey, you know what, like maybe they are going to pull it off. I kind of feel like it's like lackluster in the sense of like
Dude,
there's a lot of
this
things that are supposed to happen with what it's showing in the trailer,
yeah.
but it's like it's got nowhere to go, man. You know what I mean? Like this is it. Like
So a lot of people walked out of the screeners.
really? Oh
And
shit!
there's been a lot of theories as to why that's happening. And from what the reports are, is that this movie could get like real dark. And I think that's the reason why a lot of people were walking out of the
Well, this
screeners.
correlates to what I told you. I don't know if you remember. Like, so what I was talking to a friend of mine who is a big Aquaman fan. I was like, dude, who the fuck cares about a baby? Like, you know, that's not like a big arc or whatever. Like, I just remember he goes, no, that's a big arc. And I was like,
A
what do you
huge
mean?
arc.
Yeah, he goes, no, like he goes, you remember when Aquaman loses his hand, right? And I was like, yeah, like that's what I remember. Like I remember he comes back and he's all fucking with his hook arm and all this other shit. He goes, he loses his arm because of the baby. Because the baby's gonna get crushed by a rock, and instead he puts his arm in the way and it crushes his arm and he saves the baby. But Black Manta kidnaps the kid. Like he's gonna kidnap the kid and I don't know if he kills the kid or whatever, but apparently the way that it's supposed to go in the film is he's supposed to kidnap the kid and then he's going to train him to be the young justice Aqualad, which is the one that does the whips and the fucking martial arts one. And I was like, wow, that's not too bad. That's not too bad. They're setting up a young justice anyways. You know, they got Blue Beetle. You know, now you have Aqualad that's coming in. Like that's not a bad take. And I mean, you had, of course, the Flash, you know, bring in Aquaman at the end of the post-credit scene. Like James Gunn's kind of like there is an interesting.
You still think that they're? You still think that they're? That James
I don't know.
Gunn,
I don't want to think that.
You think James Gunn is gonna bring anything out of?
I don't want to think that because I know James Gunn doesn't want to spoil.
Listen, just listen. Blue Beetle totally bombed. Like, listen,
yeah,
there's no getting around that. No one gives a fuck about Blue Beetle. And you think in this movie is leading to this bombing as well? You think that James Gunn is gonna take characters from these two bombed fucking movies and put that in his?
But that's the thing. So I mean, you sold it to me pretty good last week when you were saying, look, this was $1 million movie. Like this was like a $1 billion movie. Yeah. So is there a possibility? Probably not, because movies have been tanking left and right. You know, it's not like it's just superhero movies. This is across the board that theaters are just sucking. Like theaters and studio films are just sucking.
You asked me, did I think the movie was gonna make money? Do I think the movie's gonna make money? Yeah. No. Am I interested in seeing it? Will I go see it? I will go see that movie.
I think it's gonna be okay when it comes to making money. But I just think like people are not clamoring at films, especially when it's coming out of DC, because DC has done some. What's up, John? Happy birthday, my dude.
What's up?
Happy birthday, my man. John, my best friend from Corpus Christi, man. Super old like myself. Super old like myself. Or like you too, Brian. You're old like me, man. You look a lot better than I do, man.
That's why I didn't even flinch. Like I didn't even blink when you said that, because like,
yeah, you look a lot better than I do, though, man. Yeah. A lot of people aren't clamoring at watching DC films in general because of the reputation that it has as a film studio, as a company. Like people are just like, I'm not gonna watch DC. DC sucks. You know, everybody says it sucks. You know, I'll go watch Marvel because Marvel's cool, but DC sucks. So like you can see the herd mentality where they're just not gonna go watch it. A lot of people. Same thing happened to Blue Beetle. A lot of people told me like Blue Beetle was pretty cool. Like you should go watch it. It's pretty fun. And you know, in my mind, I just have like a track mind that DC does not do good films.
I think there's a difference there. There's a difference between there's no connection to Blue Beetle. There's already an established connection to Aquaman. You've seen Aquaman in Justice League. You've seen him in his own movie. You've seen him multiple times.
Fucking in the Fast and Furious. I mean,
he's all over the place. You've seen him multiple times. So it's like there's a connection there. So I think
Jason Momoa is a crowd favorite, though.
I don't know if there's any connection to that, though.
Do I think it's going to be like a big, heavy-hitting blockbuster movie? Probably not. Probably not. It's just the way theaters are going right now. But the idea of them doing like a great setup where it's like the Aqualad situation, you know, the brother's going to come in and help him out and then fuck him over in the end and be partnered with Black Manta because of the kidnap. Like they got some huge setups for no fucking reason. Because like we said before, like there's no way James Gunn, with this perfect opportunity to have like a fresh canvas on the DC universe, goes back and reaches into Zack Snyder's fucking bag of shit. Like there's just no way. There's no way. The only time that this happens is like fucking 10 years down the road when DC wants to do their version of Secret Wars with DC and they bring in all these fucking actors back in like 10 years to kind of do like a nostalgia bait at the Crisis storylines, because that's the way they work for Crisis. So their Infinity War will probably be Crisis or Infinity Crisis or Crisis on Infinity or whichever one they want. And all of those coincide with the multi-dimensional 52 universes or whatever the fuck. Like, so I could see that. Like James Gunn bringing.
Are you going to see this movie? Are you going to see Aquaman 2 like in theaters?
No.
Why?
I don't know. There's just something about it that doesn't like.
Did you like the first movie?
I thought it was all right. I thought it was fun. I saw it the first time in theaters and I thought it was really cool. But when I broke it down, like later on, I was like, man, that was a lot of shit in one movie. Like one moment he's on at his dad's house in the lighthouse. The fucking people come out of the water. The next moment, there's like a whole Lord of the Rings fight scene at the very, very end. And then
That
his
movie
brother
was
and him are
fucking
fighting.
awesome, and I think you're out of
No,
your
there was the
fucking
thing is
mind,
there was a
bro.
lot of shit
That
going
movie
on,
was
but
fucking
it was
awesome,
beautiful.
and not only that, but for an underwater movie, bro,
It looked good.
fucking chef's kiss, bro.
Yeah,
That
it
was
looked good.
fucking great. I'm not speaking to you personally, but like anyone that shits on Aquaman, go fuck yourself, because that movie was fucking great, bro.
Yeah, the
It was
first movie was
fucking great,
awesome.
and
Like,
the story was fucking great too. Yeah, they might have had a lot of shit going on, and I would have
Yeah.
liked to have seen a lot more Black Manta, to be honest with you. But I'm
Yeah.
getting that in this movie. I was really happy with it. That's the reason
I
why
feel that
I'm gonna see this movie.
I feel that Aquaman 1 suffered. The only thing that it suffered from was the same thing Batman versus Superman suffered, which is there was a lot of story in one movie. And I feel they could have kind of like stretched it out a bit to make Aquaman such a bigger, interesting, more character. Because at that time, like the character, a lot of people didn't even really know about too much. Erica, thank you for jumping in the comment section from YouTube. We really appreciate you. Erica Transpatrick. I know like 10 people with birthdays today. Yep. And one of them's my best friend, John from Corpus Christi. I love you, dude. You're happy birthday, brother. And fucking to many more, dude. Onwards to party. You better drink a shitload tonight. AMC is selling $20 monthly passes and they let you watch 3 movies a week. Now that is not a bad fucking idea. Do you have that or no, Brian?
I want to. I know Rob has it. And I was actually talking to him about it 2 weeks ago. I've been trying to convince myself to get it, but you know what? I don't have the time, dude. Like if I had the time to actually go, I would.
Yeah,
I just don't have it.
So you think it's worth it? Good stuff. So what about you, man? Do you feel excited to go see this movie or no?
I said that I'm gonna go see this fucking movie, bro. I'm gonna see it in theaters. I probably go see it day of. I'm not anticipating it to be a knock out the park, but I want to continue the story. Like I think that it's going to be. I was gonna say like it was definitely Rick, and I was just like,
in the comments.
That's the reason why I even put the picture because like I know who that was.
Oh man, well, it's good to see you, Rick. Always a pleasure having you on the show, man. I missed your first name. I missed the wrong hole, Rick.
But
you got a little pause from Brian said, "Let's see what happens."
And I'm interested to see how much of Amber Heard we see in this fucking movie.
I think they're gonna kill her off in like the first parts, dude. I don't think it's gonna drag on.
It's got a baby. You can't kill the mother of a baby.
I 100% think like it's gonna be where they already have the kid. They have a beautiful life. They have that fucking invasion in the very beginning of the fucking film.
Yeah,
and she gets trapped and she drowns. And you're gonna be like, how the fuck did this bitch drown?
So then why have her in the movie at all?
Well, I mean, it's that concept of like she's in her life, in her personal life, she messed up, and they already had this film done, and they needed to kind of like exit her in some way, and it's the only way they're gonna do it, dude.
So wait, why have her in the movie then? Why not just kill her off screen and just use that?
I think that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna kill her off screen.
She's in the movie though.
Yeah, but she's not gonna be throughout the whole film. They're gonna have her there.
What I'm saying is, it makes absolutely no sense. If you're gonna have her in the movie, then have her in the movie.
Then have her in the movie.
Yeah, like if you felt like she fucked up that much,
just kill her off.
Kill her off.
Yeah, kill her off and just say like, yeah, she died last week. She was eating a burrito and she just died of gas. Or whatever.
Now he's a single parent raising this child.
Yeah, no, I understand that. Even in the concept of it, maybe it's like they'll at least give her some screen time to get her paid a little bit. And that's what they're probably doing. That's what I think they're doing, is just getting her paid. Just at least kind of abolishing her contract in some way.
Yeah.
Mark, thank you so much. He says, like always, guys, great podcast. Gotta going in live tonight on a ghost hunt. My dude.
That sounds amazing.
We'll talk to you. Yo, I'm gonna go ghost hunting with you one day. I got brass knuckles from Constantine, man. I'm ready to throw down with some ghosts, dude. I'll punch some walls and shit. I got that shit. But good job, Mark. You guys be safe out there, dude. Don't do anything too crazy. And if you do, record it because I want to see it. And I'm gonna send it to Jackass. I'm gonna send it to America's Funniest Home Videos, dude. Make some money. So yeah, Aquaman 2, kind of a little bit more interesting with the concept of going going off of the baby being kidnapped and all that stuff. I heard some shit that people were walking out because I don't know if it was because it was dark, but just because of the movie in general, but that coincides with like the Marvels also. We are just talking about the Marvels off scene a little bit. And the craziest thing I heard about the Marvels was $278 million was spent on the film. 275 million? Yeah,
Million.
275 million. Yeah, 275 million. It's a lot of money, man. It's a lot of money. How do you feel about the Marvels, man? How do you feel it's going to do?
I don't think it's a lot of money. I think for a movie to be this outer space intergalactic
CG.
transitional CGI movie,
Yep.
250, that's not a lot. But the fact that they used a lot of money in marketing and the CGI and all that stuff, they're gonna. What I read that is that they're gonna need to make like 400 plus million in the movie theaters. I don't think that's gonna happen. I
That's
think
kind
they're
of
gonna.
rough.
I think they're gonna have to wait a little bit longer to see that money come back. But I do think they will eventually recoup that money.
So oh yeah, you were telling me that you think that they'll probably end up hitting it like what in the streaming action?
Either in streaming or if they when they go to POD pay on direct, they'll probably make it there too. Um, when it goes on, I don't know if those movies go on Amazon, but like whenever you have a POD paid, pay on direct, whether it's iTunes or whether it's Amazon or whatever, they'll make the money back that way. And
I
I
see.
don't give a fuck. I'm gonna see that movie too. It's another movie where like it's got a bunch of characters that I think are very overrated, and I enjoy their characters. So I'm gonna see that movie in the movie theaters as well.
So I have to ask, and this goes out to anybody that's watching the show that's big on Marvel. We love this comic book shit. We love talking our comic book stuff. I saw at Walmart that they had the Marvels, the toy line for the
I
Marvels
did
movie,
see that. I did see that.
and I sent it to you because there were some interesting things that were on the box that I was kind of like, wait a minute, I haven't heard this yet, but this could be something kind of interesting.
There was.
There was, of course, Captain Marvel,
Mm-hmm.
Photon, which is Monica Rambeau,
Yeah.
Miss Marvel, which is Kamala Khan. This is part of the series. And then fucking David's like, fuck Walmart. Dude, that's so funny. That's funny as fuck. He has a whole story behind that shit. But the thing is in the box, they had 3 other names that kind of caught my eye. And then a 4th one, which is like when you buy the entire series, you put the pieces together and it makes a whole other character of 4 characters that haven't been mentioned. But I want to know if they're cameos in the movie because I can see this 100% being a part of the movie. So one of them is, of course, to me, it's probably one of the most interesting ones. Of course, it's Commander Rogers and Karnak. Now, the reason why is, of course, Commander Rogers would be either 1, Old Man Rogers, or 2, Sharon Rogers, right? Or was it Sharon, right? That's the one that's the business. What's it called? The businessman or the grocer or what is it? Do you remember that shit from the Captain Falcon and the Winter Soldier? She was a broker.
Yeah.
Do you remember that shit at the end?
But her name was Rogers.
Yeah,
right?
she was. Oh no, she wasn't Rogers, was she?
Yeah.
They didn't get married. No, but
What
the
are
thing
you
is, in
talking
the
about?
comic books, they get married. So she ends up being Sharon Carter. She's Carter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's Carter. What the fuck? Okay, so even better, because that kind of breaks it down that it's probably going to be Old Man Rogers. That he'll probably be. Can you see one? Can you see the opportunity for Marvels in the Marvels show on Sword for Old Man Rogers to be a part of that series? Second in command under Nick Fury, maybe.
I
Kind of hanging in the sword.
would be surprised if out of all of the IP you could present this character that's been gone for God knows how long, if you put him in this movie, I would be surprised. But
Okay.
I do think that if you wanted to inject a shot of adrenaline into people wanting to go see this movie, I think that would be a good step.
Okay. Like that like having like an older Chris Evans coming in and being like, yo, dude, you guys don't want to miss it. He's here. Like, this is the one from Infinity War. Okay, I can see that. Next question. Because that one to me is kind of like, okay, recently in an interview, Chris Evans said that he is interested in coming back to the show, but it has to make sense.
Mhm.
right? It has to make sense. And this was done in a interview with GQ, mentioning about how he loved the role so much and that he knows that there's opportunities for a return, but it has to be good. And the thing is we've talked about it where the Captain Hydra series would probably be the next biggest story for Chris Evans. And I don't know if they would probably fit that in before Secret Wars, but maybe after, maybe kind of like a build up or kind of like some continuing story or whatnot, maybe during the Dynasty, Kang Dynasty or whatnot.
Mhm.
But that really correlates very well to the main character that's part of the Legends series when you connect all of it, which surprised the fuck out of me, which is Amadeus chose the totally awesome Hulk. Now, this correlated very much to after Civil War II or during Civil War II, Bruce Banner was able to give his powers to a young hyper intelligent scientist slash genius in the world named Amadeus Cho, who has been referenced in Age of Ultron. His sister is the one that helps put Ultron in the new body, the vibranium body. So there is a possibility that we have heard about the conversation about them doing World War Hulk or Planet Hulk or whatnot. And if they kind of end it with like an Amadeus Cho getting the powers, and then we have like a whole new young, not Mark Ruffalo Hulk. I mean, do you see a possibility in this happening?
I really don't care.
You're like, fuck, I don't give a shit about Amadeus Cho's Hulk. That makes a lot of sense though, because that's like a really weird character. The two that are very interesting that I
Why
think
should I care about that character? What cool shit have they done?
nothing. The
All
only
right
thing that
then,
he kind of does is he's part of like the young Avengers slash he has a relationship with Vision's daughter Viv.
dude,
Like literally, this is
dude,
all that they've got.
dude. I don't
So
care.
there's really not much, and it's not like a bad thing. I think his comic book run was fun because it was like a cartoon, like it was like cartoony fun, but it didn't really correlate to anything in the Marvel universe that was big, like really anything in that sense.
Like that
Um,
deep cut shit, that deep sweaty shit that that doesn't interest me at all. Like it doesn't interest me at all because like if they didn't do anything cool, if they didn't do anything, and this is just me being,
no, it's true. I think it's absolutely correct. Like, why put
it's
money
like
behind a character like that?
yeah.
I could understand that
You're
they
not
do
gonna
this.
from a fan of myself, you're not gonna get the reaction you think you're gonna get.
Yeah.
I would say.
And I mean, the only two things that I could see coming out of this is one, like I said, Mark Ruffalo's character kind of goes nuclear at the end of his film or series or whatever it is they're going to do with World War Hulk. And he chooses to give the power away to someone else who has better control, which is Amadeus Cho's Hulk. And then later on, him and his son like have like a fucking like battle it out. Who deserves to, be the real Hulk? Thank you very much, Christella's mom. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Um,
Yes.
I could see that if they want to do like an introduction of Amadeus Cho, like if they bring him in as a character, world's greatest, smartest scientist, up in sword, helping Photon understand the fucking incursion walls or whatever's going on in the world. It'd be a really nice way to insert these new characters that need to be brought up. I've talked about it with like Brew Marvel and Adam Brashear. If they were to bring him in, it'd be a really those would be the spots to bring them in.
Yeah.
Now the next two characters are pretty interesting to me. One is of course Marvel Boy, who is Norvar. He is he's another Kree character. So I think this would be a good opportunity for him to come up in the show, just expanding the whole Kree area and stuff like that. That would be pretty nice. Do I know a lot about him? Not really too much. If we break it down, Robert Grayson, also known as I'll check him out right now. Let me bring him up real quick so that way I can just read off a little bit of history for him. Norvar was a member of the Kree race located in an alternate universe of 2080. Triple helix DNA altered with a cockroach gene, which includes his insect opportunities and prosperities for like a super soldier with bug powers.
Gotcha.
So not too bad. But I mean, again, the opportunity for the Kree to bring in this character, Marvel Boy, who has this who has modified DNA, of course, brings in the opportunity. You see, Rick understands this. Adam Brashear is necessary. It would be perfect to bring him in the Marvel show. Even in the fucking title, it's called the Marvels. But the next one is very interesting. If they bring in Marvel Boy, who is this character, like it says, who has a triple helix DNA, who is spliced with all these different things is Karnak. Now, Karnak, what makes Karnak interesting is he is one of Black Bolt's Inhumans.
He's
Is the
Inhuman. At
spokesperson.
least I know that character. Out of
Yeah.
everyone you said, I know that character.
Now this is cool because of course, like that's kind of been the stain in the Marvel universe, which is the Inhuman series that came out that was supposed to be a series and then a film and blah 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 and all this stuff. And it was horrible. It was a bad show. It wasn't good. It was a kick under Agents of Shield, and Agents of Shield was pretty solid, and it was below that. Then they brought in Black Bolt in Doctor Strange 2, which a lot of people were excited, but they didn't know why, because of course the Inhumans, like you got to be like a fan to understand this. But to see that there's an opportunity to have Marvel's Karnak in this film would really be cool because of the fact that the Inhumans are a collaboration of creating super soldiers by the Kree, and they were placed across the cosmos during the Skrull War for them to dominate and have all this opportunity to conquer places with people with superpowers. So to see Karnak on the sword being a spokesperson for the kingdom of the Inhumans, I think that gives a lot of promise to be like, yo, like maybe there's still a chance that they fix the Inhumans show. What do you think about Karnak like being on that? I mean, Amadeus show, Marvel boy, okay. Kree, all right. But a Karnak close to where we had Black Bolt, Doctor Strange 2. Now we have a Karnak maybe in this film coming in as a spokesperson for the family and the whole kingdom of the Inhumans.
And you're asking me what again?
Like, do you see a possibility of them coming through, bringing us Karnak, reintroducing the Inhumans after the awesomeness that they brought during Doctor Strange 2 with the way they did Black Bolt? Because that was the exact same actor from the Inhuman show.
Yeah.
But for them to actually do them correctly through film and them introduce like one of the characters in the Marvel show. Like
if they were going to do that, like if that was going to be the direction they're going to go, then why have Miss Marvel a mutant and not an Inhuman?
Oh, fuck, dude. That's a good point.
If you're going to introduce the Inhumans,
dude,
why would you not introduce one of the most iconic
Inhumans, yeah. And that's the thing, like, originally they wanted to make Miss Marvel a mutant, but they couldn't because the rights were over at Fox. And they wanted to be able to go into, like, making films and doing this stuff. So they made her an Inhumans. That's why they tried to make an Inhumans film.
And there's no way, because there's no difference between Inhumans and mutants anyway. So, like, we have the mutants coming. Not only that, but I think you're really, really forgetting the fact that Kevin Feige despises anything that had to do with that net or the Fox and the Netflix shit.
That
has nothing to do with his shit. He despises that shit. So yeah, it was cool. That's the reason why it was so cool to get Black Bolt, because like we thought we would never get that. You know what I'm saying? Because he despises that shit. Yeah. We got that. I don't think we can ask for much. But man,
that's the crazy part is like I don't get. Like, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Like, even the showrunner for Daredevil, the director came out and was like complaining.
It's totally different.
They're gonna fuck his whole show up.
It's a totally different show.
They're taking all his characters and not giving him any credit. They're not gonna pay him for it.
Dude, I think people forget this a lot, and I think you suffer from this as well when you start fantasizing about shit. Mm-hmm. Kevin Feige is very well documented about where his stances are with things, and you can't forget that when you start theorizing about shit, because it'll make things a little bit more clear to you. He's not fucking with any of that shit. Like, he'll bring in a character, he'll bring in Kingpin, you know what I'm saying? He'll bring in Kingpin, but it'll be a different Kingpin. Like, he'll do the fan service to where everyone will get geeked and want to go watch his show because you have the actor from Netflix, but he's not gonna be the same. He's not gonna be the same character. The Black Bolt won't be the same Black Bolt. Like, so, it'll just be different.
Okay, so, well, what about Deadpool 3?
Okay.
Because they're literally having him bring in the entire Fox universe, including the fucking sign of the studio. like in the film. Like I understand he doesn't like that studio. He doesn't like those characters.
He acquired
But
it though. He
yeah,
that's
yeah.
something that's something totally different though. That's totally different though. Like
But
the
okay,
Fox
so
the Fox universe is totally different from
oh dude, yeah,
the
yeah.
from
From
the
the 616,
Marvel
yeah.
from the Marvel Netflix and then the Marvel the whatever Inhuman shit.
Punisher and
That's something different. And not only that, but like I get it, but I think he would be willing to bend that if it's Deadpool. It's fucking
yeah,
Ryan Reynolds
well
and
that's the
Deadpool.
thing, like if that's the case, hates the Fox universe, where does this put Ryan Reynolds in?
He
Because
doesn't
Ryan
hate the
Reynolds
Fox universe.
crowd fucking
He started in the
he
Fox
started in
universe.
it, right?
So he doesn't hate the Fox
Yeah.
universe. When it comes to
It's the Netflix one.
The Netflix shit, he hates.
Okay.
He literally got his start in this. If it wasn't for the Fox universe, he wouldn't be where he is right now.
Well, that's the thing. Isn't the Inhumans one part of the Fox universe?
If it was,
I want
like
to
an
say it's part of the
offshoot.
Fox part.
But that's again, they went off rogue and did their own thing. I don't think this is the same.
Oh, okay, maybe. I mean, but you're not the only one. Rick, Erica, Trans Patrick put in the comment section too that if they reintroduce the Inhumans, he would want to see a new Black Bolt. Which I mean, that's true too. I mean, I mean, the entire cast of the Inhuman series was a little. They were more sitcom.
I didn't watch that shit, bro.
No, I did. I saw the whole series.
I wasn't watching.
The only one that was really fucking good was the fucking brother. I forgot his fucking name. Mad something mad. I don't know. He's like Loki though. He's like Loki. He's fucking nuts, dude. Yeah, I forgot who it was, but the guy that they chose for the brother was Black Bolt's brother. Oh, it was ABC. That's right. Maximus the Mad Maximus. And the actor that they chose was the dude who like had some dude eat his own wiener in fucking Game of Thrones. I don't know if you remember this actor. Did you watch Game of Thrones?
No.
Fuck. I can't remember any other fucking story that this guy was part of. Or any other film.
So the Inhumans was not made by Fox.
Oh, it was, yeah, that's why it was ABC, right? That's what
so it was in-house. It was in-house. Yeah, it was in-house with it just wasn't it just didn't fall under Kevin Feige. They gave it to somebody else.
So this is the cast that they had for the film, these guys. So of course this is the guy that came out in Doctor Strange 2, right? Let me see if I can get this scene. Let me see. I'm gonna get it right now. Here we go. That's the cast right there. So this is the guy that, of course, was from Doctor Strange 2. This girl had come out in some other films too, but she was in Tron. She was like a some chick in Tron. This one I don't remember. This guy though, Maximus the Mad, he was probably the best part of this show. He was 100. I would rewatch it just to watch him. He played a good fucking crazy person. And then this guy was Karnak, and then this guy was the guy with the bull eggs, which is like the guardian of the Inhumans. But their Karnak suck though, man. Like Karnak in the comic books is so badass. Like he's such a G. That one shit, dude. That one was shit. And that's why I was all really confused when they brought Black Bolt back in the Humans, or not in Humans, in the Illuminati shit in Doctor Strange 2. But to see him brought back, to see him in the costume, like to see that they actually cared to kind of make it look more comic book friendly, I thought that was cool. So when I saw this on the toy, that there was an opportunity that there might be a Karnak in the Marvel show. Karnak was always like a spokesperson for the royal family in the comic books. So if they're going to in some way kind of bring back the Inhumans or introduce them, that they're out there somewhere, I think that would be a really nice intro to just have Karnak show up, hands behind his back. You know, hey, what's up? You know, I'm Karnak from the Inhumans. You know, let's talk about our life, because they apparently live on the dark side of the moon, like the Pink Floyd song, right? They're on the dark side of the moon. They have their own little Attila. So, but yeah, man, Rick Yeah, Karnak was garbage in the show, really bad. Michael Betancourt, I didn't get to read it out loud, but he says the Inhumans was handled by Marvel's Television with ABC, same crew that did Agents, so you can tell really, really bad. Agency Shield and Agent Carter. Sadly, Feige axed all the shows due to inner office politics. He would butt heads with the Marvel TV leads. Yeah. And that was the thing too. I think apparently it was supposed to be a film first, and then it got cut and turned into a
So
television
the
series.
Marvel, so that's what I'm saying. It's him when it comes to like the Marvel TV heads. He
Mhm.
never really got along with them. So anything that ever had to do with them, he goes out of his way to shit on and acts. So
Mike, I want to ask this real quick. Brian, did you ever watch Agents of Shield or no?
I started Ages of Shield, but I didn't finish it.
You
It
didn't really get into
wasn't.
it too much, right?
It wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't for me.
It does get better later on in the series, so if you do get a chance, like later on, it does get better. But I want to ask Michael Betancourt and Wronghole Rick, they probably have seen it, and anybody else in the comment section. How would you feel if in the Marvels film, Daisy finally made her appearance, like in the MCU some way? Like, would you be cool about that? So let me know in the comment section. Brian, I don't know if you remember Daisy's character. That was Chloe Bennett's character. She was an Inhuman who turns into this character in the comics named Quake, who was a very prominent Agents of Shield character that had like armbands that she could like fucking
Okay.
make the
Yeah.
earth shake and shit. And she was an Inhuman. She was a really really big character in the Shields and the Nick Fury books. Like what I want to know is she's a very prominent character and a leader like a Yoda
Mm-hmm.
in the cartoons of the Young Avengers and the Marvels and with Kamala Khan. She's like a mentor for Kamala Khan in a lot of the comic books.
Okay.
So like how would you feel if out of Agents of Shield, I mean of course knowing like us, like knowing the history of like how Kevin Feige really doesn't like play too well with the TV shows too much, and but a lot of people still saying that Agents of Shield should have an opportunity. How would you feel to have a person like Daisy make an appearance, like kind of like a cameo, not like a huge thing, not like fucking, don't give her a whole fucking huge ass role, just have her make an appearance. Like, how would you
I
feel
mean,
about
as
this?
a person that didn't watch the show, like I don't know what that would mean to me. Like that wouldn't hit as hard as it would for
Okay,
you. Like you watched the show. I thought the show was boring as fuck. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Like that show is
oh, that's fine.
boring as shit, and I couldn't get into it. I would have needed something to keep me coming to that show every week. With as much content like that comes out on a weekly basis, they needed to do a better job. And I know I'm not in the minority here because a lot of people
No, a
say the
lot of
same
people
shit.
didn't like it. Yeah,
Like a lot of people say the same shit that it just
I think
it
it had a
fell off.
niche, man. I want to say that it kind of correlates very much like a Buffy or an Angel TV show, kind of like a Firefly, which were all fucking phenomenal shows when you like sit down and actually focus on it.
Yeah,
But like it needed something to be able to like grab people in the very beginning.
yeah.
It couldn't be very much by itself. Phil Coulson is a great character. Him dying in the fucking movies, of course, hit everybody super hard in the first Avengers movie. But like Phil Coulson as a character wasn't enough to get me to want to
But
be
that was
like
supposed to
watching.
be the draw, right? That was
That was the
supposed to
draw.
be the thing that was supposed to bring everybody in to watch the show. Not
It
it
was
wasn't meant
supposed
to.
to be but then again, it's like that was the problem. You had Kevin Feige being like, "Nah, it's not related." But then the whole thing was like you had Phil Coulson coming to a television show after he died in a film, and then him supposed to be like doing the backstories of everything that was going on that Marvel could not do in film.
Mhm.
Like that was the idea in the very beginning, and then it just turned to shit. Kevin Feige was like, "Nah, fuck that. It's not correlating to us," and then everybody lost interest to it. Michael Betancourt, of course, says we deserve a secret Avengers team with Quake, Ghost Rider, Robbie Reyes, which was of course Gabriel Luna, awesome character, Moon Knight, Elektra, and Phil Coulson as a leading team.
Yo, where
Uh,
do we see Moon Knight next, bro? Where does he pop up? What does he do?
tell you the truth, I would say Blade or the Black Knight film, but that shit is like long away from anything that they're doing right now in the film. Like I don't even see uh, personally. Werewolf by Night, Man Thing, Moon Knight, Black Knight, Moon Knight, Black Knight, and Blade. I don't see a purpose in them in any of the content that's going out right now in any of the phases. Like I would understand if you were gonna do like a side story, but like it just doesn't make any sense. Like there's so many
I'll agree with
crazy
you.
storylines that it's like it's taking way much more attention. So see a bunch of dudes showing up being like, "Yo, we're gonna fight Dracula," I'd be like, "Bro, what are you doing?" Like,
I think the only thing that makes sense is moving forward if we get if we get these characters, right? If we get either their introduction or their continuation to whatever storyline they were in last time we saw them, if we see them only for Secret Invasion, that not
Like
Secret
cameo
Invasion,
shots, right?
Secret Wars, that would be
Okay.
the only reason why we see those characters. But I will agree with you. Other than that, I don't know why we would see these characters.
In my mind, it's like the stories that are going on are way too big for these characters to begin with. Like, I don't see any of those handful of characters working against the incursion with the Avengers.
Yeah.
Like, and that's bad because, you know, Scarlet, what is it? Not Scarlet Witch, but like Black Widow and Hawkeye, I could see being there more, dealing with the incursions more than I could see Moon Knight and Ghost Rider and all of these other crazy ass fucking characters, Black Knight and Blade. And like, I mean, they're cool. Like, those characters are really like street level. They're really fun characters that you put, like I said, like if you're going to say, well, Dracula, since he's a real prominent Marvel villain, he's gonna be like one of Doom's generals in Secret Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, cool. Like, well, then you bring in Blade and you introduce Dracula, and you hope that people like him enough to see him and want to see him in Secret Wars. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's just a great. That's like a when we when we were reading Secret Wars back in the day, and we saw fucking Apocalypse or Apocalypse's son as a general, or you saw like fucking Mr. Sinister and Braddock's fucking arguing with each other in a council in front of God Doom. You were like, what the fuck is going on? Like, why is Apocalypse chilling out in the back? Why do we have like the random what Age of Apocalypse Jean Grey clone that's sitting in the back? You were just like, what the fuck? There's so many random people here, but they all served a purpose under God Doom. They all kind of like it, you know, they explained it better in the comics, but it's just that they were all part of like the extra stories they were going to sell for the comic books and whatever, the side stories and shit. So I could see that. Michael Buttoncourt says originally the draw was that it was related, and the show would even provide the helicarrier used in Age of Ultron to save you. Yeah, like there was a whole bunch of
That's not gonna fucking get me to tune in every fucking week. That's a chore, bro.
Yeah, can you imagine fucking watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and then all of a sudden like Phil Coulson's like Nick Fury hits him up and goes, "Hey dude, there's some shit going on. Can we borrow your helicarrier?" "Oh yeah, dude." And then all of a sudden he fucking,
that was the issue, Mike, is that they drew me in because it was at the like Marvel as was at an all-time high at that point right there, and they like tricked all of us into that shit, and that show was just fucking boring.
There was a part of me, and I don't know if anybody ever thought of this because I was probably the only dumbass that thought of this shit at the time. That when old man Rogers was sitting there looking at Captain Falcon, like I wanted old Phil Coulson next to him. And the reason why is because Phil Coulson faked his fucking death. Like, you're not going to tell me that Black Widow and all these other people, like, you know, doing all of this shit, don't find out that Phil Coulson is still alive if he was supposed to provide a fucking helicarrier. You know what I mean? If he was still in the background fucking fighting like Inhumans and all that.
It's not canon, bro.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Yeah, that's the thing. It ended up not being canon, but that would have been a nice, like, if they were like, oh yeah, well, you know, Nick Fury came out and all these characters did come out. Sif came out in fucking Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. the same way she came out in Loki.
And again, I'm not gonna watch it if I know it's not canon. Like I watched it because I thought, you know, what kind of cool shit. Yeah, what kind of cool shit is part of it. But then Kevin Feige flat out said, "Oh, this shit ain't canon."
Yeah, it ain't shit.
You guys are wasting time. You guys can go over there and watch the shit if you want, but you be wasting your fucking time. And I was like, you know what?
But they did do the Captain Hydra story fairly well in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. There are some really cool nods. Like you're like, take your word for it.
Yeah, take your word for it. Take your word for it. I will never have to. There will be no consequences of me never seeing that.
Mm-hmm. By chance, still, are you gonna go watch the Marvels? Are you excited about it as much as?
Yeah, I said I'm gonna watch that movie. Yeah,
as much as Aquaman 2, like excitement.
Probably the same. Yeah, okay. I know that puts me in the minority, but I don't care. Like I think
it's all right, dude. Like
I'm
a
huge fan of the character.
I know you were. Yeah. That's the thing. I remember you saying you were a really big fan of the first one, and that's the thing. Like if you like Captain Marvel, fucking good on you, man. Like I've thought the character was really cool, and I always thought that a lot of the times they just need to get a good writer to bring her in and make her story like really, really good. They used to write her pretty well back in the day, but I mean, it's just what it is, man. Comic books are comic books, and it is what it is. Yeah. But if they knock it out of the park, then fine. If they don't, then fine. I mean, we're gonna live either way. But again, I want to hear from you your top choice for cameo for the Marvels that you would be like, yo, this would be really, really cool.
I would like to see that scroll general that they talked about in Secret Invasion.
Skull General Secret Invasion.
Yeah,
Which
that's
one?
they talked about the when the all of the scrolls exiled, most of them went to Earth, but some of them stayed with the army and the general. I don't remember what name, but I that hasn't left me.
I
And
wonder who
I
it was. Let
want
me check it out.
I want to see him show up in this movie and do
And
something.
he's a scroll.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wonder
Other
who
than
was
that,
the Super Scroll.
I couldn't I don't have any anticipations on who I'm gonna want to see in this movie. To be honest with you, I'm gonna go into this movie with very low expectations. I'm not expecting shit. Like
That's awesome.
this movie's gonna probably tank. But again, I'm invested. I want to see it. I kind of want to see how um Nick Fury does. I'm more interested to see how Monica Rambeau um does as opposed to anybody else in this movie. I think they may have some really big plans for her. So I kind of want to see how she is in this movie.
Very true. Very, very cool.
Yeah.
Good shit. For me, this is gonna be some deep cuts, man. But I hope that we get what's the fucking armada from space that's in the X-Men?
What?
The what was the one that with fucking let me look it up. The Shi'ar, the Shi'ar. Do you remember from the Dark Phoenix series, the chick that was all with the hair that was in love with Charles Xavier?
Sure.
Yeah, the Shi'ar, dude. I would like to see in some way, the Shi'ar make an entrance, like them be known or mentioned in like the talks with swords, them like making like colonies or talking about like different societies in space. That's what I would like. I just want them to kind of expand into the universe. So, oh, of course, what is it? Michael Betancourt says his pipe dream would, of course, love to see Beta Ray Bill. I think Beta Ray Bill's always been like a top knowledge, man. Top knowledge. Yo, yeah, Leandra and the honorary guard Gladiator. You don't remember Gladiator in the cartoons?
So Gladiator would be cool. But what's the you're gonna have to you can't introduce a whole
Yeah, you can't
new
introduce a whole race or whatever.
that's introducing a whole race. And listen, I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm a fucking huge Gladiator fan, but I just remember always seeing Gladiator. I don't know why, but he was always like
It was pretty cool.
he was a popular fucking character. And whenever I used to walk by a comic book stand or
Boom, guy with a
comic
mohawk.
books, I'm always seeing Gladiator. So yes, I
Gladiator.
know who he is, and I know what significance he has with the Kree and the scroll.
Sure.
But I don't see how you fit him into
Well, I mean,
this show.
cool idea is if there was like an intergalactic council of different organizations coming together to talk about like the incursions.
Yeah.
And that's where we're getting like Karnak. And then like you have different spokespersons from different races that are coming together for like the council, which was very prominent during the Jane Foster Thor storyline, where you had Foster sitting as the All Mother for the council, and you had what's his fucking name? The big guy, the big chubby guy. He was part of it also. You had a bunch of people that were all different races of stuff that were all coming together as like different races in the galaxy to come together and talk about problems and shit like that. Like the different realms and stuff. I think that would be kind of cool. Yeah. So at least some type of nod. Because of course, like in the Marvels, the original movie, you had a nod to the Kree and this and the Nova Corps at war, talking about that shit. I think the one that's going to be kind of interesting is if they continue on where Guardians of the Galaxy 1, they had it to where the Nova Corps chick was Nova Prime was talking to like some Kree general guy, and they were talking about the treaty, and then all of a sudden he says, you have your problems, we got to deal with something else, bye, and then hangs up on her. If they kind of went right after that, that would be really, really cool. So yeah, but other than that, Ronghole Rick says, do you think that we'll ever get Nick Fury Man on the Moon? Oh, to send off Sam Jackson. Oh, dude, that would be really good. Man on the Wall was really good. That would be a switch if they put Bucky in it and Nick Fury retires. Only if they did that. And then Michael Betancourt says, if the writing's in it, I'd introduce the whole Makarn crystal, and the Gladiator would be sent out to protect it with the other. That would be interesting. The Mcron crystal, that's like the crystal of the universe. That's cool. That's pretty good. But yeah, it would be really cool if they did a man on the wall. But yeah, onwards to our last part of the conversation today. Brian, returning back to what it was, and it just so happens that we have Michael Betancourt in the comic book in the section of comments. Ahsoka recap episode 6. Now, Brian, I don't know if you want to go first.
I want you to go first, and I want you to describe everything that you felt. BRB.
Okay, so coming off of episode 5, I was really, really excited to see what they were going to do because I was expecting some really, really big stuff. This was supposed to be the giant reveal. Of course, we get Thrawn. At the ending of this episode 2, we also get the return of Ezra Bridges, which is the long missing character of the Rebels crew. But it was, I don't know how to explain it, but like it was very underhyped. Thrawn's walkout, the music was very good, but there was something about it that did not hit. And I don't know of the gravitas of it, but I didn't feel it. I didn't feel it. It was so cool to see him in live action, and he looked great and fantastic, but I don't know, man. I don't know. Then, of course, like we had the reveal of Ezra Bridges at the very end, and he's all dressed in like a Prince of Persia style garb, maybe even like this like imagery of like the savior of Jesus Christ, that he's supposed to be like this this Messiah like character in the situation. But there was just so much weirdness around this episode that didn't make sense. Like, one, Sabine Wren, she's not, I don't like her character. There's something about it that I just do not care about her character at all, because she is so dry when she acts, and it's very similar to the way Ahsoka Tano is. Well, whatever her name is, Rose, whatever the fuck her name, I can't, off the top of my head, I can't remember. Very dry, very like no emotion to it. When Ezra comes out, there's no expression. Of course, being a fan of Rebels and the Clone Wars in the Rebels series, you know, Dave Filoni, when he was writing it, he always wrote this like that there was like this love interest, like this deep love interest between Rosario Dawson. Thank you, Mike. That there was this like love interest between Sabine Wren and Ezra Bridges. And when she sees him for the first time after being on this like crazy journey for 10 years of looking for her friend.
Can't believe you couldn't remember Rosario Dawson.
Yeah, I couldn't remember what I'm talking about. I do that every week though. I mess up a name, at least one name. Like her expression for seeing this dude like for the first time, knowing that she hadn't seen him in 10 years, there was a possibility she was never going to see this guy again, was fucking trash. Like it was so missed. Like just the vibe of it was just so like, it's so uneventful. So uneventful. There was more lead up to Thrawn walking down and seeing all the stormtroopers and all this stuff. And then finally seeing Thrawn was like, whoa. And then he talks and you see him standing there and you're like, I was like a frail old man. I could punch this dude to death. You know what I mean? Like, this guy don't look tough at all, man. But the Ezra Bridges thing and the Sabine Wren was so underwhelming that it took me out, completely took me out of the episode. And then the only other problem that I had with that is I thought this was supposed to be like, the way that Thrawn puts it down in the show is that it's a very essence of time. You have a couple of days to find this person. And if you don't find him, you're fucking left here. She leaves, gets in a fight with her fucking horse, dog, or whatever, makes a fucking joke about it. And they kind of like, she walks away from it knowing that she doesn't have any time. And the animal still came back. Get on your fucking horse and keep going because you got some shit to look for. Randomly find some turtles, and then the turtles are all like, oh shit, yeah, that's our homie, man. Let me go take you to go see him. Knowing that it's taken more than 10 years itself, it's taken Thrawn, his entire faction of fucking soldiers and everything to look for this guy, to wipe him out. And he was hanging around with some turtles in a caravan.
So I know that you said that you had an issue with Sabine Wren as a character. Juan Morales in the comments has asked a question, which I actually want you to answer, because maybe this may have something to do with it. The character development, that is. He's asking, do you think she felt guilty for what she did in this leading up to the conflict?
Yeah, of course. And she like literally shows that more emotionally than her caring that she found him. Like, there's 100% that while she's talking to Ezra and she's like running around the question in such like a obvious way that Ezra knows she's fucked up. Like, there's no way she didn't fuck up. Like, there's just no way. He's like, well, how did you find me? And she's like, well, tell me about your clothes, or how are these turtle people? Like, she's very nonchalant about the way she kind of walks around the situation. It doesn't, this goes back to what I talked about in the first couple of episodes, where the reason why I don't like her character is her character's only characteristic is she rebels. Like, she rebels, and it doesn't land. It doesn't land for me. Like, okay, I understand she gave this piece of a map or whatever the fuck to Balin because she wanted to find this guy. But like, when she finds him, and the only other thing that he's telling her, or that she's telling him, is like, well, you got to pack because we got to go. And he's like, go, like, how did you even get here? And she's like, well, don't worry about that. I only help the dude that you helped excommunicate or fucking like banish from the realm. We're only gonna catch a ride with him back. Like, don't sweat it. You know what I mean? Like, his whole last 10 years has just been trying to survive away from this guy. Like, and now this chick is like, well, we needed a ride. Like, can't you just get over it? Like, I don't know. I don't know. Brian, you got to kind of like, you got to tell me what you feel about this show or this episode.
So I'm gonna be totally transparent. Like, behind the scenes, I was hypercritical about this episode. That's putting it lightly, to be honest with you.
Bloody nose. Hold on, I'll be right back.
All right, good. But to be honest with you, after thinking about it, first off, I like this episode. I really like this episode. My issue is Disney Plus has this thing that they do, and I don't know if anybody else has caught it yet, but they have this thing where they have a series, 8 episodes, 9 episodes, 10 episodes. They usually wait until like the third to last episode to give you your big reveal, or the thing that you were waiting for the entire series to reveal that. So now you only have probably around 2 episodes to wrap everything up. I despise that. Like, I am beginning to hate that, to be honest with you. I think this episode would have been better serviced for everyone if this was like episode 4, episode 5. Something to where you can flush out. We haven't seen Ezra or Thrawn in 10 years, basically, in this story. How are you going to wrap up what they both been through in one episode? Because I got to figure one of these episodes is going to be a conclusion with the big battle. You're not going to have much time to do much dialogue there. So you're going to do, like, in this next episode, it's going to be a lot of flushing out what everyone was going through. And not only that, but you have so many storylines going on at once that you have to wrap that up in the next 2 episodes. I despise that. But on the positive side, I think the CGI, dude, in this episode was phenomenal. I don't think that can go overlooked. Also, the music was great
Yeah.
in this fucking episode.
Thrawn's music was really, really good.
I think the Balin dialogue is probably the best in any Disney Plus show. Okay. I think Ray is doing a phenomenal job.
Okay.
I think Thrawn's dialogue was great. There were a lot of things I did like about this episode, but because of the pacing, I think they wasted a lot of fucking time in this episode. Um, I would have been fine with if earlier in the episode we met Ezra and met Thrawn. We didn't meet Thrawn until like midway in the episode, and we didn't see Ezra until at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
I think like they just spent a lot of time doing a bunch of nonsense that at the end of the day means absolutely nothing. Now, I can be wrong about that because Dave Filoni, that's a weird cat. Like he could make something minuscule mean something great at the end. But
Yeah.
I just think that the pacing, I just think the pacing was off. I think that being that we already knew that Ezra and Thrawn were in this episode, I needed more than just the reveal of them in this episode. And I think that's all we got. That's all we got in this episode.
Yeah, I kind of feel like the like yeah, we were kind of expecting for them to be in this episode, and it's so weird that they were 100% about doing the last episode in theaters, and then they released this episode, and it like literally goes backwards like 2 ratings for me. Like it's like they didn't care about this episode as much as they did the last one.
I think that they cared about this episode. I just think that it didn't. We only have 2 episodes left, so I'm expecting things to progress a little bit more rapidly moving forward. And this one
That's true.
didn't. And I just think this episode didn't progress enough for me.
It's kind of
And
stagnant.
and I think that the next episode, episode 7, is going to be spending time explaining things that probably should have been explained in this episode. Yeah.
Yeah, the whole
That's
concept
that's my issue.
but then again, it's like we said, like my biggest thing was they were making all like it was kind of like that weird joke of like Ahsoka on the outside of that X-wing floating around, and she's like, "Did you fix the cockpit? Like, did you fix it already?" And she's floating, and they're making it into like a joke. That's kind of how I felt like with the horse scene, right?
Yeah.
The horse bucks her off out of fear, which is normal in a fight or some type of scare that the horse gets freaked out. It's more better when the audience sees that it came back. And then you're like, okay, cool. But then for her to be like, "You're a coward, you left me behind," acting like the animal understands conversations and having supposed to be that he's supposed to back her up in a fight. And she just met her fucking 5 minutes ago. And he was speaking another language to the other guy when he was telling it, it's just an animal. It's supposed to be like a horse. And they made it seem like it was a whole new character that was going to be a part of the team.
Yeah.
And I just think that with a time-consuming situation where you know that you only have a couple of hours to get there before the ship leaves, and it's your only opportunity off of being exiled. I mean, of course, because she doesn't know that Ahsoka's coming in a whale, right? Like, she doesn't know that. So she thinks that this is her only way off planet. Like, she just didn't, like... They added that whole scene with her yelling at it for like 20 minutes. And it's like, dude, like, bitch, you got a mission. You got an objective, like get on your shit and get to work. And then she's like, make yourself useful. And then the animal automatically knows that she's got to like, that it has to like smell something. And it already knows what to smell to find Ezra. It's a bunch of Mary Sue moments, right? Like widgets or whatever they call them, where it's like, they just happen that they just kind of work for the script to work. Michael Betancourt's like, "I want to say things, but I can't type them fast enough." Mike, I can send you a link real quick in chat if you want to jump on real fast and kind of tell us what you think. If it's feasible, if not, then it's understandable. You can totally type in what you need to type, and we'll read it when you put it up. So, but yeah, like Brian, like you make, I mean, you always make really strong points, and you always call this shit out. It's like, why do this kind of episode when you only have 2 left?
Yeah,
like I understand there's like a cool lead up, and you don't want to lose that flair, but you only have 2 more.
What kind of shock value were you going to get from Ezra and Thrawn when we knew before the series even started that they were going to be in this episode?
That we knew we were going to get them anyways.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. He's like, "Let me get his shirt on."
Nah, man, leave the shirt off, bro. You're not even allowed in without views, Mike. There's no shirts, bro, for you, bro.
Yeah, it's shirts and skins today.
Hard nips.
Shirts and skins. That's funny. Let me go ahead and send it to him real fast, and then we'll get Mike's. Because it's like I said, like I really did want to hit him up earlier to bring him on the show because I wanted to get his insight on this. Let me go ahead and find. I'll type it in real quick. Let's say, yeah, there's my boy. All right, post. There you go, brother. It's in your messenger, man. It's in your messenger. But Brian, let me ask you then, like, where's your take on this episode? Like, I don't want to say it's like a
I liked it.
complete
I
miss,
told you I
right?
liked it. I liked it. I think again, there was enough in here for me to like it. I do. I just think that they wasted so much time. They wasted a lot of time, um, and I don't think that it progressed the story for what we are right now enough for me. That is my
You
only critiques about it.
you know what's even crazier is I'm way more interested in Balin and Thawne's situation than I am with. What's up, Mike?
Hey
Sir,
guys, all right, you
Yo,
got me
yo.
out of bed. I put my
Hey,
son to
it's all
sleep,
good.
and here I am.
I'm telling you, like my big thing is I wanted to call you and get your information on this because I know you're like us. You're like a huge fan of Star Wars, so like you gotta have like it's either you're tearing your hair out or you're there, sucking on a baby bottle, just chilling out watching this and you're really enjoying it. So like for me, this episode was like a hair puller. Like I was kind of like it was cool, but it wasn't cool at the same time. So
so
Mike, you're gonna
Yeah,
have to give
so
us.
wait before you go, Mike. I want to know overall what's your take on the show, and then what's your
Cheers to that real
take
quick.
on this episode.
so overall with me in the show is I'm enjoying it massively. It's a
Okay.
nostalgia trip, and it's doing really good for the lore. You can tell Filoni has taken care of the story for us step by step. And that's what made me okay with this episode. And I'm with you, Brian, when you're saying this episode felt like the pacing was too slow. And then I get
Mhm.
that, especially what we got from the previous episode. But Filoni doesn't play. So a lot of things you guys are commenting on, I feel Filoni is setting us up for a really disgusting reveal, and I have a theory. And if it's what I'm thinking is going to happen, it's going to be horrible. It's going to break a lot of hearts.
Okay. So with there's been a lot of theories, a lot of speculation that's going on out there. Um Theories and everything aside, let's speak about this episode specifically. What are the things that stuck out to you, and what are the things we already got the fact that it was a slow pacing. You already explained that. What are the things that you did like about this episode?
Things that I did like.
Yes.
Yeah, the things that I did like, obviously, Balin, like you said earlier, everything he says is
It's like
is a
fucking
play on what the Jedi Order should
broad.
have been, could have been, and
Yeah.
didn't become.
Yeah. 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 I thought
Yeah,
that was
I did.
very interesting. And I don't mean to cut you off. I thought it was very interesting his existence and everything that's going on right here. Like he is on his own mission, and it just so happens to be coincided with everything that we're watching. And I think that's fucking great. And his deliveries with his uh dialogue, I think, are chef's kiss. For me, he has been the most pleasant character so far.
100%. I'm with you, especially his line when Shin Hati asks him, do you miss the Jedi Order? And he looks off into the distance and he says, I miss the idea of it, what
Yeah.
it could have been. But he didn't miss the reality of what it became and how it fell in his eyes. And for me, as a longtime Star Wars fan, I feel almost as though Filoni, through Balin, is talking to the fans. When they
Like a
ask us, "Do you
meta
miss the old Star
like a
Wars?"
meta fucking I get it. There
Yeah,
there was a lot of
it's a
that in this episode. There's a lot of meta
100%.
commentary in this episode which did not go over my head originally, and I appreciate that from Dave Filoni. That I appreciate it.
Yeah, and even for me with the meta, it was meta for me, or at least the way I perceived it. The situation with the dog horse thing, and Sabine getting pissed off at it and all that jazz. I felt as though she wasn't yelling at the dog; she was getting mad at herself for ditching Ahsoka, leaving her behind. She ran off with Balin to go find Ezra, and she left what could have been the last Jedi, alone there to die.
Okay.
So it's
Okay,
her
that's
getting mad
cool.
at herself, via this dog that can't talk back and can't respond in any way.
But that's the
Okay.
only thing I
Uh,
think that I'm kind of refraining on being hypercritical about, but it's like a sore thumb to me is that there's no type of regret, there's no type of remorse coming from Sabine
Sabine.
for what she did. Like
Yeah.
the gravity of what she
She's done a
did,
lot of fucking ups, like a lot.
like the gravity of what she did. She literally risked everything of her existence for this mission and not even being sure if she was going to be able to come back. Like there's none of that, right? So like listen, I'm fine with that as long as you don't do it later. You only have 2 episodes left. So don't give it to
Yes,
me
I
later.
honestly think that with Sabine, where we're at with her as a character is she gave up a long time ago,
Okay.
and she came to this world figuring she wasn't going back. That this was it. That she was just going to go there, whether Ezra was alive or dead. She was going to stay there. And she doesn't, because you see it. I mean, she emotes poorly in this episode for some damn reason, but you see it when she looks at him and he says, "Hey, I can't wait to get out of here," and she just stares at him, and that's that second of what the hell am I going to say next? Because
Yeah,
she has no
because
way of knowing something's coming.
because there was only one way there, and she took that opportunity. Because, see, I don't look at it like that. I look at it in the sense that she only cares about bringing back Ezra because, of course, the concept was Filoni when writing Rebels, he made it seem that there was a love interest. And now in this series, they're making it seem like there was no love interest. They're just brother and sister because Sabine doesn't have it a family anymore.
Yeah, but what's the
That's kind of
point?
weird.
But what's the point in that though, Chris? Though, what's the point in that when you know that in doing so you will be bringing the destruction with you
Well,
back?
that's the thing. That's why I say this is very super underwhelming because in any concept, the sacrifice of everything that she's done from here till now, the concept of it being 10 years of you never knowing if you're ever going to see your friend again, for you to steal again, to rebel against your friends and fucking take this one map that was the only kind of like justification and knowledge of this other worldly entity or universe or whatever, and then take that and then screw people over and then get their trust back and screw them over again. And it's like I said, the only thing that her character does in conversation or in concept is constantly rebel. And I don't see that as a character trait. And then for her to finally get to Ezra and be like, yo, give him a hug and be like, yo, it's good to see you, man. Like, all right, cool. Like, what do we do next or whatever? And it's like, how is this like a 10-year search for someone you didn't even know how you were going to find them 4 days ago? 4 days before this, she didn't even know how she was going to even find Ezra until Ahsoka showed up with this cube that she could unlock. Like she didn't have any lead. She was just waiting in that base. So like, yeah, like even the whole concept of like Balin even telling her like, yeah, it's weird to see that you gave up the whole fucking galaxy for this dude. Like even him making comments at her. Like it
I
was
think it
very
was even.
underwhelming with the way she
I
acted.
think even the Thrawn dialogue with her was like,
Yeah,
the Thrawn dialogue. He was like, "It's interesting to know that you basically threw away
your
your
entire
entire
galaxy.
galaxy
Yeah,
for this, and you don't even know whether or not he's alive or not.
but then
Like you
again,
don't even
like
know he's
Star Wars,
alive. He could be dead."
yeah.
Yeah, and that's
But then
where I
again,
think the concept of the meta is coming in here. Because I feel like Filoni is talking shit to us.
okay.
You're going to hate on everything and throw everything away because of one movie. You're going to hate everything and throw everything away because of one episode. You're going to hate everything and throw everything away because of one comic and one book. And I think that's what was happening with this episode. It was a fan talking to fans and saying you have bitched and moaned and cried about everything, and
Here
you
you go
threw
now.
everything away. And that's what
Yeah.
Sabine is doing here. And for Thrawn to be the most cold and calculating admiral in fucking Star Wars, whether books, games, and cartoons or whatever, to tell that to her face. And Balin, who's literally the voice of reason, because even Ahsoka was fucking trying to claw his face out with her sabers when he fought, and he was just calm, cool, and collected to say, "Hey, you did something
She's such a
dumb."
cool character.
I think it's important to notice here, and I dug the episode. Would I have loved it to have been faster? Yes, but I do think we had a conversation without having a conversation, and that was what was interesting to me.
Yeah, and the other thing is too, it's very interesting the way you put it, where you say that Thrawn is this like very, very egregious, very high society character. And when you're watching him, you notice that his like clothes are all tattered and dirty at the seams. like close to like his feet. They're all like the muddy and stuff. And you see his soldiers and they're all like torn up and cloth holding their shit together and all pieced together. And
No,
it's
that's because
almost
I
like,
have a massive theory about their soldiers too, and I
oh
don't want
yeah,
to say it and spoil something. But I
it's
mean,
okay, dude. You could tell me it's the
You can
dead
spoil it,
soldiers,
bro,
dude, and
because
it's the
like honestly,
fucking
dude,
the
like
witches brought him to life, dude.
everyone has their theories. They're all over the place. But before you give your theory, I want to start here. If we're gonna start doing theories, right? The biggest thing that I want to know, and I want you guys' opinions and your theories on this. What is calling Balin? I am assuming that it's the same thing that has the witches and Thrawn on their high horse to get the fuck up out of there. I want to know what your theories are as to what is calling Balin.
I mean, I could say it. I'll tell you right now who I think it. I think it's Azimuth or Absamoth or whatever the fuck her
Abeloth.
name is.
It's Abeloth.
Yeah, I think it's 100% that chick.
So the mother.
It's just the darkness, dude.
Okay, so the mother. So that's I've seen a lot of that going on. And I'm not sure if Mike your take on that is different, but that's the common thing that's going on around here.
that's my take as well. And they're running from an army of the dead.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's why
maybe,
they only have so long. And my theory is Thrawn only has so long under two cases. Either all those stormtroopers that he has that are all tattered up and covered up are all dead. They're all zombies that the Night Sisters have raised. And our gold-plated Thrawn trooper, he's like Merrick was, the brother. He's a soul. He's a ghost within that armor set. And Thrawn is trying to get away with an army of the dead. Or my other horrible theory that if Filoni wanted to break hearts is that nobody survived the arrival of that ship. That Ezra and Thrawn and everybody there are dead. And they only have so long to get off this damn planet. And that's why the sisters are pumping so much power into everything. And that's why they couldn't find each other. Because after so long, they're going to relive their deaths and everything will reset and they'll start all over again.
So that was my issue with this episode is that there was so many open-ended questions, and I'm afraid that they're going to try to very quickly. Yeah, they're going to very quickly tie them all up in the next two episodes. My next question from you fellas is, what do the Night Sisters gain here? What do they get from coming back to our universe? Or our galaxy. What do they gain from this? What are they promised? What are your theories on that?
They gain what Jedi Fallen Order and the games allude to. So the Night Sisters were decimated by the Sith and the Jedi. They were destroyed as Force users that practiced basically black magic. That they were neither good nor bad. They could do something beneficial for you or hurt you at the same time. They were witches. But technically right now there's no Palpatine. There's no Empire. There's no Jedi Order. If they come back, they are the Force, and they can do what the hell they want and take complete control. I mean, who's going to stop them with an army of the dead? You know, the only ones that can Force heal or do Force lightning or anything, you know, they have the universe in the palm of their hands if they could just get back.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Okay, I totally get that. I really don't have any theories as to what leverage they have here. As far as what I know, they're just granting wishes and hopes to get back, but I don't know what they are getting back to, or why they're here. What is it? What's up with this planet, though? What's up with this basically dead wasteland planet? What are your thoughts on that? Like, where are we right now?
If I remember correctly, from this planet is where they were exiled to during the Jedi and Sith War. Like they were sent here or they escaped here, and it's decimated and it's destroyed because battles happened here and a lot of things died here. Not just Night Sisters and Jedi and Sith and everybody else, but a lot of creatures that had a lot of power that the Sisters brought there. And it's just a hole. And once, you know, they stopped traveling the way they traveled with this weird magic Purgle, which the space whales as super hyperdrive thing, they were stuck and stranded there.
Okay. All right. I'll take that as an answer. I'm using you guys as my therapist because Chris will tell you I went off the fucking deep end after this episode. And I'm glad that we don't do the show right after episodes, because
Oh,
I
yeah.
would be a completely different fucking person.
That's a good
Let
way
me
to
be
put
honest.
it.
Let me
That's a good
be
way to
honest
put
with
it.
you. I've had some time to collect my thoughts and be able to, talk eloquently and deliver my stuff the way I need to. Um, Listen, I think that we are in a weird space where things are all coming together, but they're all leading apart. I don't like that in my shows. I don't like that when I know that, like, maybe in like a 20, 30, 50 episode season, I can understand that you have so much time to flush everything out. But in an 8 episode season, and I don't know what's coming, like, we don't know what's coming after this. We don't know the next time we're gonna see these people, right? So it's
Right.
like I need to know what these people like specifically. I don't need to know what Sabine Wren has been doing the last 10 years. Like, I kind of get that from the dialogues and the talking in the last
Yeah,
three
she ain't doing
episodes.
shit.
You know what I'm saying? Ahsoka, the same thing. But when it comes to fan favorites, Ezra, Bridgers, and General Thrawn, dude,
I want
we
to
don't.
know.
I want to know what the fuck you were doing the last
Yeah.
10 years, bro. And I think that they're gonna fail in that regard. I could be wrong. I could be
I don't
wrong.
know. I think Filoni's going to break all our hearts, and they've been dead this entire time. And,
That's,
and it's
that's
But then,
crazy.
my
okay, so then
thing that
how
comes
do
off
you?
the damage off that dam is like at the end of Rebels,
But
the
okay,
purple, the space Rebels wreck the Chimera. They destroy that ship.
Mike, say you're right. Say you're absolutely right, and your theory is correct. Why would you leave that
Eat all of
to
this story.
2 episodes left to explain that, though?
Yeah.
That's some shit you need to flush out, dude.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
I
that's a good
honestly
point.
think
That's a good point.
if I was, and this is really stupid because I'm not a writer of this damn show, but if I was going to
None
do
of
it,
us are.
yeah, if I was going to do it, the last 2 episodes of the show would be a coming to realization that this is what happened. And then Ahsoka, now that she's back as Ahsoka the White, is this other thing that touches, the space between worlds and all these things that teach the lesson of letting go. And it's supposed to be character development and things like that. And
Okay.
Sabine has to decide, no, am I going to attempt to be a Jedi? Am I going to give up? Am I going to die? Same thing with Ahsoka. She had to make that decision when she faced Anakin, which was a wonderful exchange back and forth. And I think that's what we're going to get as far as a wrap up. People coming to terms, should I let go? Which is why I think we're not seeing Hera as much. Because when Kanan died, she had to do that herself in the Rebel show. She had to let go of her husband. And
I don't think that's
that's
gonna have. I think if they go the route that you say that they're gonna do, I don't think it's gonna have the same effect as they think it's gonna have. We
oh no,
just
100% not.
we
People are
just
going to riot.
I mean, no, people will probably riot, but in a bad way.
Yeah.
Like, if they did this in episode 4, let's say, if we saw Ezra in episode 4, and we had 4, 5, 6, 7, where we're getting back to Rebels now, right? And that's one thing I will give. This episode was more Rebels
Yeah.
than anything ever in this season so far as I'm concerned. This is Rebels. This is like Rebels season 5. But if the connection's not there, right? If we find out that Ezra's dead in the next episode, where's the connection there? Like, there's really no. We didn't have him for 10 years. We didn't have him. We knew that he was gone, and we knew he was off somewhere. There's no connection. But if you had him for the entire season, basically the entire season, and then in season 7 you find out, oh shit, he was dead this entire time.
Yeah.
It's like a fever dream.
Teardrop, bro. Like, you got me. I'm fucked at that point. Like, I'm fucked, and I'm not revolting, saying, yo, fuck you guys for getting rid of Ezra. It's like, holy shit, you guys really just did that. There's a difference there. I don't know if that makes any sense. Like, there's a difference on how the reaction is going to
Yeah.
be
And
if
I'm
that
100% with
happens.
you. Yeah, totally with you. And I believe that if they had done this as 2 separate series, if we had gotten Ahsoka and just Ahsoka's journey up to Anakin as a separate story, and then a second series, Rebels 2 or Rebels something, and that's when they reintroduced Thrawn and the Ezra story. And we had a storyline showing us what's been going on for 10 years in a distant world. I think we'd have the impact that you're calling for, Brian. But that was my major gripe here with what this episode gave us. Because as the super fan that I am, I'm sitting there beside my wife and I'm losing my shit. And I was like, there's not enough time. I can't wrap my head around exactly what they're trying
What's
to do.
going on? Yeah,
without really fucking myself over or somebody else over.
Yeah.
Like I will feel bad if Ezra's dead because I've watched everything else and I've held onto those characters this entire time. But a new fan or a person that hasn't watched the animated series, like my wife, who has not watched Rebels at all, doesn't understand why that's going to hurt. And I think that's where they're going to lose out. If we had gotten two separate series together, or a season 1, season 2, I think that would have worked out better.
I agree.
I think it's going to be way more simpler than all of this stuff.
Probably.
I think it's going to be 100% where Thrawn and them see these people coming. Balin and whatever her name is are going to find up with Ezra. Balin's going to fuck up, and the chick that is with Balin is going to join Ahsoka, or not Ahsoka. She's going to join Sabine Wren. I think she has more of a connection to Sabine Wren than she does with Balin. She's going to feel that Balin's kind of like too much of a fanatic, I guess you could say.
But and again, that's a timing issue. How do you you just spent the last 6 episodes doing the total opposite, and then in one episode you were gonna.
Well, the thing is you had them have their Vegeta Goku moment, right? Which was the first fight scene that they met, and then they had their second moment in the forest. The third one when she gave up the globe and continued to say like, "Well, fuck it, I'm just gonna join you guys." And then from there, you saw them making little faces at each other, and fucking Sabine Wren being taken and her making eye contact with her, like that wasn't part of the deal. Like kind of like backing up Sabine Wren more than Balin, because Balin was allowing Thrawn to just throw his power around and just do whatever he's doing.
I don't think it's more of her backing Sabine Wren. I don't think she gives a fuck
I don't think
about. I don't think she gives a fuck about Sabine Wren at all. I think
but
she
cares about
it's more.
Balin.
Just 1 second. It's just like I think that it's her questioning at this point. Now we're seeing that transition of her starting to question. I don't even think she's questioning. She like even in this episode, she's just trying to understand him. She's trying to understand what he's trying to do. Like, what's the whole point here? Like, dude, they're about to bail on us. Like, we should probably hop a ride with them. But he's like, no, we're meant to be here. Like, we're here for a bigger reason. Oh, okay, so I had no fucking clue. So now what are we doing here? So now we have to have another episode where we have to flush that out. Then she's got to turn. If what you're saying is true, we have to flush that out. She's gonna have to turn. She's gonna
catch a ride with them back.
She's gonna turn in a way where now she's a quote unquote good guy. We can't. I don't. I mean, enough time for that. Bro.
I'm not saying she's gonna be a good guy or turn heel. I just think she's gonna think that Balin is like lost his wits on that planet, because he's gonna want to stay there, like you said. He wants to get to that power, and it's not Thrawn that he really cares about. It's what he can find there. Like there's something about it that he's.
But something's gonna have to happen. Though. Something
fables.
has to happen is to where she's gonna want to bail on him, though.
Yes, which is that he's gonna choose to not want to go back to Thrawn's base or operations, and she's gonna be like, "This is fucking crazy," because they have a fight that they're gonna have to fight Ezra and Sabine at the same time or whatever. And then when that happens and he leaves, she's gonna lose all faith in him, calling him.
And you know what's gonna happen?
And you know what's. And I think then Ahsoka shows up with the whale and
you watch this fucking shit is because now I'm questioning where was the connection between them in the first place? If she's gonna bail on him because she's not really with this idea, then she's not a Padawan, bro. She's not a true Padawan.
But they're not Jedis.
I think that's a distinction here, that with Balin and Shin, the way they're operating is he's teaching her skills and teaching her abilities, but he's not teaching her to be a Jedi or a Sith. Yeah. There's no rule of two here.
But in this universe, Mike, and I don't mean to cut you off, but in this universe, we don't know of any type of relationship like that. We know of, even with the Sith, it's this master and apprentice. When it's the Jedi and the Padawan. Yeah, there's no am I wrong in that? Like, there's no in between that.
Well, I mean, look, watch. Even in the concept, but Juan Morales in the comment section says Thrawn is going to kill Balin, and that's what's going to make her go against Thrawn. That's what's going to make her. Even that concept, in theory, would make this chick want to join anyone else other than Thrawn at that moment. And the only people that she knows she could trust are the Jedis, that they're not going to try to fucking kill her over or whatever. And she already has that like fight relationship with Sabine. Like there's something about it that you kind of feel that girl. I always forget her name, but she's like.
How does Thrawn kill Balin?
I don't know. It's an interesting concept. I don't think he kills him. If he does, it's gonna have to be like in the most like slimiest way possible, like when he's not paying attention, or shoot him in the back, or I don't know. Thrawn's Thrawn. He's super fucking strategic, dude.
I don't think Thrawn's going to kill him. I think the Night Sisters are going to sacrifice him. I think the Night Sisters are going to use him for something. And since Thrawn's aligned with the Night Sisters, that's what's going to set Shin off.
I mean, that could even be the concept of what they're looking for. They're looking for a Jedi sacrifice.
Elizabeth, the woman that got them there, as a Night Sister herself, you know, she doesn't hold Balin in the highest esteem possible. He's useful, but she calls him the mercenary. She calls him a tool. You know, she's using him for something. And that's what I think is going to happen. The Night Sisters are going to use Balin for something, and Shin is going to get pissed.
But see, I think that's the interesting part about this is I don't think he's being used. I think he's being used, but like willfully, like
he's in it.
Like he's allowing himself to be used because he has a higher calling. Like there's something that's calling him there. And
and I think you're 100% right, but that's where I believe we're seeing where Thrawn is the mastermind. You know, all these things have been.
He doesn't fuck with Thrawn. He's not fucking with the Night Sisters. He doesn't fuck with the Sith or the Jedi.
Yeah, he don't give a shit about anybody.
He don't give a fuck about none of them.
Yeah, but Elizabeth is a Night Sister, and she got Balin to go do what she needed, and provided Balin the answer he's looking for. Why did she all of a sudden have fucking access to what he needed?
Well, because she got called by the Night Sisters, but yet, again, I think there's so many things at play, and this is why I'm so pissed off why we're in the situation where we're in, because there's so much that has to be fucking fleshed out. But he, I think, especially with this last episode, which I think was a great job by Ray and the performance that he did, is because he let it know to me, and this is my perspective on this, how I feel about it, that this was his plan the entire time. His plan was to be here. And to have this, and to have he called it to have a beginning. His mission is to have a beginning somewhere and to start over. Put away this Jedi and this Empire bullshit, because it leads to nowhere. It's a cycle. It happens all the time, and it just keeps going. He's aware of this. He wants to start something new. That's nothing that the Night Sisters or
Thrawn or anybody
Thrawn have anything to do with. Yeah. So it's like it's kind of weird and interesting at the same time. Like, I don't know, man. It's weird, and I don't think we're gonna get it all done in two episodes, bro. Period.
Yeah, I think it's it. I don't think this is really setting up for the whole, because the way I'm looking at it is like the whole Star Wars landscape all the way to like the newer trilogies, I guess you could say. Like, I'm trying to look at it all the way past that, but this is like only setting up what they're going to do with Thrawn's character in the next couple of films. Like, I think they're going to do a Thrawn film, and of course we saw them do the Mandalorian, we saw them do all the Boba Fett films. Like, all of that stuff has to correlate to whatever it is that Thrawn's doing. I think 100% this is going to be like the Rebels movie in live action. Like, that's what they're really setting up.
I think this all leads to like an Avengers style movie where we get Mando, we get fucking Boba Fett, we get all these motherfuckers in one fucking movie, bro.
Yeah, that's the way I kind of feel it. Like, so like even this concept of like us needing the next 2 episodes to like really coalesce into something, not really. Like, I just need Thrawn to get off base and go have his fucking Chimera ship out in Star Wars land regular.
That ship is a beast. Holy shit. The Chimera is monstrous.
And
that was a cool shot, by the way.
I need for Ezra to finally meet Luke. That's all I care about. Like, so that when they get together, they can reinvent the Star Wars Academy, which is where all the other Jedi and Jason and all these kids are going to die in when the fucking Ben Solo goes crazy. Yeah, because that's all I know. And all I know is what I think is going to be this setup is that the magic they're using is going to be what they're going to use to create Palpatine to come back and be one of those clones and all that stuff. To be able to take his soul and to put it in everyone rather than just creating a bunch of clones that don't have the same mindset.
But they don't need that though, because in Mando season 3, they were already cloning. They don't.
Yeah,
need
but those
that
are just
magic.
clones. Like they're not like it doesn't have anything to do with like the soul. And remember that in Rey's position with Palpatine, he needed her soul. He needed her essence to be in part so that he can be at 100% again. So that wasn't clone work. That's not clone shit. That's like
that's
like
the dark magic
shit.
The,
yeah, that's like magical shit.
Okay.
So like that to me that makes sense. So
yeah, and you see the hints of that when Ahsoka kills Merrick. You know, when she slices him up and the ghost leaves the body. Yeah. That's what they do. They possess empty shells with a soul.
Yeah. Which is what you think the Star Wars with the stormtroopers are, right? Which gives
the stormtroopers themselves, the regular troopers, I believe, are just risen zombies. But that gold-plated guy is a soul possessing a shell.
Which are the Death Soldiers, Death Troopers from that book, right? The zombie book that they wrote a long time ago. Which that's why I think I'm sorry, I got a little sick this past week. That one character that we were talking about, I forget her name all the time. The Abeloth, or what's her name?
Elizabeth?
No, the demon,
the mother,
the mother. The darkness.
Oh, the mother. You just call her the mother. That name's hard to say.
The mother, dude. You just say the mother, dude.
I think the thing that the witches are doing is they're trying to find a way for her to get off galaxy and into the universe. And that's why the idea of Thrawn building this 7 hyperdrive spaceship creates an interconnecting thing rather than them trying to use the whales, which you see all the death of the whales that they only come to that planet to die. They don't come to that planet to live. They only go there to die. So they can't use the whales to escape. This is going to be like the first time or the second time actually that the whales come this way to drop something off, which is the first time it was to drop the ship off and all these people. And that creature, the mother, never had a way to leave this planet and spread her darkness across the galaxy, which I think they do succeed in this. They create that opening, allowing her to get into the dark, which is the darkness that Rey was seeing in all the different areas that was like underneath that fucking Jedi place that they never touched based on. They never explained that. They never explained that situation. There was so many crazy things. And not only that, Rey's character, when she sees the doppelganger of herself, a lot of people compared it to the mother because of the way she had sharp teeth and all this other stuff.
Yeah, the fangs and all that.
Yeah. So like I just think it's like that's the whole thing is these witches all are a cult worship under the mother, and they need to find a way to get the mother to expand her essence all the way across the galaxy. So that way she can have total confirmation. Because if you break it down, if Palpatine was using some type of dark magic, then all of those people that were in the background during the Palpatine scene in the last movie were all witches. They're all witches, which makes a fuckload of sense if you break it down. Like a giant cult of people that were just following this dude because he was the closest variation to the father or whoever it was, or the brother or whatever character that was pure evil. So I don't know. I think it's going to be very simple. I think what's cool is if they introduce, like you said, like the Dark Troopers, and they bring that to the world where Thrawn in his film is pretty much going to have what Hellboy had at the ending of part 2, where he has like the Golden Army, like you said, and he has soldiers that can't die, and they're fighting like the Battle of Mandalore all over again. And you have like the fucking dark heads, you have the night owls, you have all these different characters that are coming back, all the different like clans that are coming to fight this immortal fucking army against this guy. I think it's cool, and I think all the resources he's bringing are all the material that can help Palpatine build his Snoke bodies.
Yeah,
I think it's even the Snoke character, like even like pieces of those old Jedis or Force users from that time, or Snoke is like a Wiz or what are they called? The Wiz?
Which one?
Was that the name of them? The Wiz, right? Was that the characters from the cartoon from the Clone Wars that were like the ones that what's his face? George Lucas really wanted to make the series about the Wiz or something like that?
Oh, okay, yes.
Like that was what I thought Snoke was originally. I thought he was a body of those characters. So maybe that was the people that used to live on this planet before it became a warring planet and turned into a giant graveyard.
I don't know.
And
That's a hell of a dive. I don't know if Filoni will do that to us. Because no, this man has his plans. I'm just waiting to see what the hell he does in 2 more episodes. Because I'm gonna want another fucking 45 of them, and I'm not gonna get them.
my thing is, what I'm really waiting for is for them to start the new Jedi Council, and it's Luke, Ahsoka, Ezra, Baby Grogu, and Sabine Wren if she doesn't turn into the Knights of Ren. If she doesn't change to Balin's shit and wants to not be a Jedi but be something of like this like historian and collector of pieces, and they all make a cult under Sabine Wren. That was the whole concept. I thought the Knights of Ren were all part of Sabine Wren's cult, which kind of sucks, but
So,
Mike,
Brian, where do you sit on everything?
Yeah, Brian, what's on your mind, man?
I'm exhausted.
There's a lot of stuff in that one, man.
I think I just word vomit everything that was in my head. I don't think it was coherent so much, but listen, man. I'm gonna watch just like you guys these next 2 episodes. I have faith in Dave Filoni. I think I wouldn't want anybody else in charge of Star Wars moving forward. I hope, you know what I hope? I hope that I hope these next 2 episodes does well. I hope they do well, and I hope that someone up there at Disney realizes that there's a lot of people. I'm not even sure that I'm sold on it like to this degree. But there's a lot of people out there that are Dave Filoni fans, and there's a lot of people that want Dave Filoni to take over the reins of Star Wars. Judging from the field, I don't think that's a bad idea. So hopefully it works out.
I was trying to understand the question that Juan was asking in the comment section at the very end. He put, I'll click on it right now. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they only have full power in the galaxy. They lose it a lot.
The Night Sisters don't lose all their power when they leave that galaxy that the mother's in. Okay. That's why I don't remember which book explains it, but they build those weird spire shrines. It's that gold goo pool thing that amplifies their powers, and that's where they pull the souls out of. So these I'm going to call them shrines because I can't explain them any other way. Is what builds a better connection. Because there's a distance, and they don't operate like Jedi where they can just pull from the living force. They're not pulling from the living force; they're pulling from this darkness that is death, kind of a deal. So with those shrines, it facilitates the problem.
And by chance, last question before we end this: do you think that Bentu, or a character like Bentu, is the character that's calling out to Ray Stevenson's character, Balin? Bentu was that big ox that was like in the middle of the Force.
Yeah, I don't think it's a character like that. I think what Balin is feeling is a loss and a change. That it's his time to go, and he needs to do something before he's gone. Basically, it's more like when Qui-Gon was ready to die, when Darth Maul was in this stabbing and running through, the last time we saw a Jedi die by getting stabbed, right? But I think that's what's happening with Balin. He knows it's over, and he feels it coming. So he's trying to accomplish some unknown goal, and we're going to learn what that goal is.
Man, that's crazy.
Is Bentu a being that can transfer to a different galaxy?
Well, it doesn't really explain where his species is from.
Yeah, and the basic from we understand from Rebels and everything is that he's a creature that travels the Force via the space between worlds. Yeah. He can move across places because the space between worlds is not doorways. You can't enter and exit through somebody else's doorway unless you are a creature of the living Force, like the lawful wolves and the lawful cats and those creatures that make this thing a doorway. Like which is why, like in the cartoon, Ahsoka and Ezra cannot exit out the same door of one another. She has to go back to her door, and he has to go back to his door. when they had the battle with Darth Vader and everything. But these certain beings can do that, and I do think that's what he is, or his species is. They can travel that distance and enter and exit. So I don't think he's calling him, but I do think a purpose is calling him.
I think it makes more sense that the mother is what's calling him personally. What's calling him there, because she could be something that can transfer from galaxy to galaxy.
She's a cool evil too. She makes a cool villain. Like that's just a really cool character, like just across the board. Like,
and that's what she does though. Like that's her thing, is to call Jedi and to call beings to her.
Yeah, it's the great seductress kind of idea.
That's her thing. Like, that's what she does. Yeah, that's what she does.
Yeah, I think that's such a cool villain.
It makes more sense for it to be her as somebody else.
And I just want to say one thing, Mike. You reminded me so well right now. That how beautiful it is that all of this came from that fight scene with Qui-Gon and Darth Maul. Like I remember, like right when you said that, I remember like a memory of me like sitting on the couch and then in the theater, like watching all of that unfold. And just from that one thing causes like all of this crazy chaos in the story, dude. Like how fucking cool is that? How
are you? Let me ask you a question. Because we're gonna exclude the sequels, right? Are you guys more fans of the original trilogy or the prequels?
For me, it's the prequels, because those were my Star Wars. When I was in school, when I was a kid, those are the ones that I liked. I loved the destroyer droids, the droideka. I loved the idea of the clones being made on Kamino, and Obi-Wan fighting Jango Fett. Yeah, all these things were mine. I mean, even the pod racing was nuts. That was cool stuff. And people saying, "Oh, Tusken Raiders in the original trilogy couldn't basically hit the broadside of a barn," but you got Tusken Raiders sniping racers and they're hauling ass through these caverns and these massive canyons. So that was my Star Wars, and I'm a bigger fan of the prequels.
For me, it was the original. I like the very raw Jim Henson style filmmaking, Pan's Labyrinth, very labyrinth, very just the vibe of the older films. Like the newer stuff, I liked it. Of course, the fight scene on the last film with Anakin versus Obi-Wan, the Darth Maul fight scenes, the city with the flying cars reminded me of like the Fifth Element. Like all of that stuff was really, really cool. But there was something about the original films to me that made it feel more like a Goonies movie, or like it just had the vibe of like those old school Indiana Jones. There was like it had that thrill of like a set piece without CG. I don't know, there was something about it. So like when I would go back and see like the Battle of Endor, or you're going back, you're watching the Ewoks fucking do crazy shit, and there's like dudes in that costume like running around with their little legs and shit like that, and you see like, yeah, there's just something about it. The nostalgia of the old school is my take. I like the older ones. So, and I like the storytelling, because all of the pirates in space, like I don't know, there was something about it that was just so like basic as the way they wrote all the characters.
I'm with you, but if you want to go storytelling, I think
the prequels were fucking phenomenal in the story part.
Has it beat?
Yeah, that was way super serious. That was like for me. I mean, I know at the time a lot of people didn't like the prequels. It was like only like chosen fans liked it, but that was an awesome upgrade from what we got when we were children to it going that way and being serious, because that was where you can literally tell your friends like, yo, I'm watching this shit. I've always been a fan of it. Look at how hardcore this motherfucker is. Samuel Jackson's in it. He's cutting motherfuckers' heads off. You know what I mean? Like you had it was so cool. It's so fucking cool. But yeah, Mike, what's been going on, man? Anything that you want to give a shout out to? Anything you want to say? What's up? What's up, Ham? Good to see you in the comments, my man.
I have the next Psychotronics Free Show coming up October 21st and 22nd. We're going to drop the announcements of the new dates and new locations on Monday, but the historic CNL Array is going to host us in downtown McAllen. Yeah, we are going to have musicians. Our guests will be announcing on Monday. Our first guest is Stephanie Panicello. She's the voice of Claire Redfield. We'll be bringing her back to the night from Resident Evil 2. And then we have, and I can't remember the names on the top of my head, but we have 5 adult stars from Pornhub, Brazzers, and OnlyFans coming in.
Look at Brian. Get Brian's all excited. He's like, man.
Yeah, so they'll be our guests signing autographs. They'll be doing a panel. 3 of them are actually Twitch gamers and streamers. So we're going to try to set up some streaming stuff for them to do there and do some live plays. And then we are also buying out the Pluma Blanca Community Theater Company to do a shadowcast live of the Rocky Horror Picture Show that night at the Psychotronic Spree. So for $20, you get a full convention. You get to meet some porn stars. You see 3 rock and roll bands. You listen to a paranormal investigation team and get the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
So are any one of those adult stars Siri? Is their name Siri Doll or any of them?
No, none of them are Siri Doll. I actually tried to get Siri, but her guarantee is ridiculous.
Oh yeah, I can see that. I see that.
Yeah, the 2 big names that we are working on right now for porn stars is Stormy Daniels and Katie Morgan. But their schedules are kind of difficult to work with, so I'll make that announcement if I ever pull it off, because holy crap, they're busy.
Well, good stuff, man. Good stuff. I'm proud. I'm happy you guys are on the up and up. You know, I mean, we've been looking out for you guys, and I'm happy to see you guys getting up there, man, and getting something going on. So can't wait. I think the CNL Ray's perfect, dude. McAllen, CNL Ray's always about it. They used to do this one. What was the show they used to do back in the day? Was it called like the Monster Ball or something like that?
Yeah, the Monster Ball, and that's how we got turned on to it. Margaret sent us their way, and Bert with the CNL Ray was very kind. He's like, "Hey guys, we've done weirder things here. We're on board. Just come in and make sure you're okay with a community theater group that's out here," and we worked it all out. So yeah,
that's awesome. That's so cool. Excellent. Actually, cannot wait. What else? Anything else, Mike? Where can we find information on Psychotronic? Where can we find information?
Find us on social media, Facebook and Instagram. Like I said, I am off the weekend. I'm here with my son. So come Monday, we'll start dropping all the announcements and ticket links and all that jazz. And we have videos coming from the porn stars saying that they're coming. We had the video from Stephanie. And then I'm hoping I can lock down a special guest, one last celebrity to bring in. And if I can swing that, then I'll let you guys know.
Excellent, man. Well, hopefully the average boys are there. We're going to be there, hopefully.
Of course, you're going to be there. You better be there at this point.
Yeah, we're going to be there. Going to be doing some cool stuff. Maybe Brian comes down. It sounds like a party.
I'll try my best. It's in a month, so I'll try my best. Right?
Yeah, it sounds like a party. I know Brian wanted to come down soon, so that would be a really fun reason to come down.
I'll put Brian right up to any of those girls personally. It'll be all right.
Nice. Yeah, Brian's gonna be like, let's jump on someone's Twitch stream, boy. Let's go some gaming, man. I don't even care. I'll do that shit. Mike, I want to say thank you so much for jumping in with us, man. I know it was last minute, and you have no idea how much I was holding back. That I was like, you know what? I'll wait for the next 2 episodes, but we haven't even had you. You know what? I want to say on the 29th, I want to bring David, right, from the Collectors. He's going to be doing a show for the Danny's wrestling event that they do, the wrestling event that they do, and I think they're doing it in Mission, I think, this time. We're going to bring him on the show, so he's going to promote and talk about his guests that he's bringing. But I want to make sure that I bring you after the season finale of Ahsoka to talk about the entire thing, because we didn't even really get to talk about the Anakin Ahsoka meetup in the in-between world, which I know you were probably fucking
I tell you what, as soon as I heard fucking Hayden Christensen say snips, I lost my shit. Like I was like,
that was one of the things. Like you're like one of the only guys I think about when it comes to like us talking Star Wars talks, and this show has been so good to us when it comes to being Star Wars fans and Rebels and Clone Wars fan. So I want to make sure I bring you in on the season finale, especially season finale, so we can all jump in, talk shit if it's good or bad, and break it down just like we did with RJ a long time ago, man. So it'll be good. So and the show for Mission, the wrestling one, is called the RGV Sports Show. So that'll be the October 8th and 9th. So Mike, again, thank you so much. Brian, what do you got planned for the weekend, my man?
I have to go take a piss test tomorrow for my job. I'm starting a new job Monday, so I'll go take a piss test for that. And then nothing, just relaxing. I have my daughter the rest of the weekend. Just gonna hang out with some family. That's about it, man.
All right. I'm supposed to be hanging out with our boy Atreyu, Michael Betancourt. I'm gonna go hang out with Atreyu, I think, on Sunday. So I'll let you know. Maybe we can all meet up and bring you in if you want to kind of go chill, if it's cool. But if not, it's good. If you're busy, man, I know you're a busy man. So
you guys know when I'm with my son, he's a priority. So I don't go anywhere else really when I'm with the baby.
but I will make sure I give you. I'll tell him you give him your love and you're proud of him. He is moving to Vegas. He is working with Steel Wool now. He is an animatronics expert and a character developer for the video game itself. And we're super proud of this kid.
Let's not say he's an expert now. He's always been an expert. He's just applying now what he needs. I'm so proud of that guy. He's doing great.
We very much are, man. And yeah, we're gonna go hang out with him on Sunday, hopefully at Hams. We're probably gonna go to Hams. We're gonna go play some games and shit. But guys, I want to say thank you to all our extraordinary listeners and everybody that tuned in today. We appreciate every one of you. We hope you guys are safe. Watch out. Be very careful. There's a flu going around. I caught some shit, and I've been kind of dealing with it for the last 2 days, but I'm breaking it down. You guys make sure you're safe. Be careful, and yeah, we'll see you guys again here next Friday here on the Average Boys Podcast. As usual, Friday nights. Don't forget to like us on Spotify, YouTube, iTunes, Google Podcasts, anywhere where you guys look up podcasts. Don't forget to check us out. And if you got YouTube, subscribe. We always put up videos, and it's real fun. We appreciate you, and we'll see you guys in next Friday. Laters.
Good night.
Peace.